Boy, David, even in the short time that you've been gone, the amount of development that has been going on in this area is insane. I think they're building an apartment complex in Gulf Coast Town Center.
Do we think this was all planned, or that this is also because of Ian?
Planned.
Yeah, I think it was planned. A little bit of both, honestly. More planning.
You know, I had an interesting comment to me by a friend who lives in West Palm and lived there in the 90s into the very early 2000s, and then moved away for almost 20 years and came back. And they longed to return to Florida. And I reached out to him the other day, and he said, yeah, it's not the same Florida. I go, what do you mean, development? And he goes, well, yeah, there's more people, but that doesn't bother me. He goes, it's the state's not the same. I go, what, an attitude? He goes, yeah, it's a little different. I go, huh.
I've said this before, but I still remember Miami, even as a kid, having a different feel, like a decade ago or whatnot. And obviously, I was a kid, but
I told him it was because he moved away to the Midwest. I said, and the people are just so different there that
yeah, once you go out there,
right? You know, like he grew up in the Northeast. He worked in the Northeast, and then he went to West Palm. Well, then he spent 20 years in the Midwest and went back to West Palm. I'm like, yeah, it's
yeah.
It wasn't much of a change for you to go from the Northeast to West Palm, but it's a radical change to go from the Midwest to West Palm.
We do everything perfectly here. People just have trouble understanding that.
And if we don't, well, we tell you we do. It's part of our charm. So Denver's parade is today, ambient. I think Vegas is Saturday. I thought I heard.
David, is the article by Ross Dellinger you're speaking of? New draft NIL legislation includes athlete restrictions healthcare. That's the most recent. Okay, wait a minute. NCAA.
I thought there was one by 40 about talking about Tuberville and.
I'm on SI.com trying to find what you're talking about so I can. Ross Dellinger is the one that writing most of the stuff on it, but
okay.
I always tell myself that I should be paying for the Athletic, yet I'm not, and I feel like I should be.
Yes. Yeah. Dellinger. He got a hold of the working draft from Tuberville and Mencken.
Okay. That's, yeah. Just want to be able to peruse through it between now and when we start.
Right. That's why I text you.
Yeah.
30 seconds. Here we go.
listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. It's a Thursday. We're already over the hump. How's your week going? And how the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. And now, Mark, that the NBA and NHL seasons are over, we have to wet the whistle. We have to use the magic numbers on a daily basis. And they are either 72, 77, or 84. Depending on when it is that you feel the football season begins. 12 weeks tonight. Chiefs hosting the Lions, 84 days. 11 weeks tonight. Gators, UCF. College football season begins with that first Thursday. But if you're going to go week 0 and Notre Dame and USC are playing, not each other, but they're playing, then, you know, that's 10 weeks from Saturday, baby. Game on. Let's do this.
Think about it this way as well, David. Everyone's going to take a vacation this summer. Most everybody takes a little bit of a vacation this summer. So you take that almost minus a week right off of that count because you'll be in oblivion for 1 week of the summer.
And there are actually a few periods between now and then in which sports will, entertain you. Like for some, it begins today and tonight. Got the little US Open thing.
I love it so.
Bowl question. All right. Prime time golf Open Championship all morning and afternoon. Which is better? By the look on your face, it's primetime golf, which I can't believe because I thought there was absolutely nothing that beat the first 2 days of the Open Championship.
It is such a difficult question for me because I do love primetime golf. But since, now we've been doing mornings for a while, David, I'm up early. I love hopping out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3:45 in the morning, and being able to turn the TV on and watching a little British Open.
See, it gets in the way for me because I stop and I watch and I got to keep moving. I got to work. I mean, next thing I know, 15, 20 minutes has gone by and it's like, oh, I'm behind. Damn Open Championship got me again. That guy with the strange nasal voice. Now on the first tee, Patrick Harrington. It just gets me every time.
And then you're locked in for at least a half hour without even trying.
Right. Because also they don't take nearly the commercial breaks on that golf tournament as they do on the American majors.
Funny you say that. USGA saying there will be fewer commercial interruptions during the 2023 Open this year.
Well,
last year they got killed.
Crushed. Saturday. It's just every 7 minutes. It was almost like watching the Indy 500 or a NASCAR race on NBC. Hey, we've done 8 laps. Let's go to commercial. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They worked together, did the USGA and NBC, to create a 30% reduction in commercial breaks on this weekend's coverage.
They lose an hour of commercials, apparently, over the 2 days. An hour.
Not that there were too many advertisements in the U.S. Open.
No. An hour less commercials. Now, I mean, granted, they're doing, 16 hours of coverage between the 2 days on the weekends. I mean, I think it's fair to say they're doing at least 8 hours between Peacock, Golf Channel, and NBC. They're doing at least 8 hours a day. But anyway, there's an hour more golf. Which is funny because remember, golf on Fox sucked. You know, it absolutely, it sucked. Yet both networks have taken about 75% of what Fox did, including Fox showed more golf than the other networks combined. I mean, Fox showed golf.
In fact, didn't they do the last hour commercial free? Wasn't that their big thing?
They were the first ones to do it. Last hour commercial free, brought to you by Rolex. Yeah. And it was damn near 80 minutes that they would do commercial free. Right. Which is really the last 5 holes. I mean, think about that. They get to the 14th tee. We're not taking another commercial. That's pretty good. As opposed to, we've just run 9 straight laps in a NASCAR race. Got a break. 8 laps of an Indy 500. Got to go to break. God, I hate NBC's racing coverage. All they do is do commercials. Golly. Dale Jr. in the middle of a sentence. Dale, shut up. We got to go to break.
This bothers you more than it bothers most people.
Live sports, and we're missing it. I've never understood how in the world they break while there's live racing. What the hell are we watching? Racing. Why are you going to break? There are plenty of cautions. They go to the pits. Hell, work it out. Where when there's a caution, they do one more caution lap. Okay, and during that time, you play commercials. Get it in that way. You know when they're under caution. At least in golf. I mean, honestly, especially if you narrow it down to, you're down to 2 to 4 guys. Okay, well, there's 5 minutes that they walk in between, tee shot, second shot, green. Here's time to jam in a break. You could, and you don't feel like you'd miss anything if you do it properly.
I've never understood why they're so set on how long the breaks are. Like if I was in, and they do it a little bit more now when they go side by side. But when I first started broadcasting hockey, I worked for minor league teams in the now defunct International League and in the ECHL. We didn't have, there was no TV timeouts then because the league wasn't telling. There were no media timeouts. They weren't part of the sport. And it was a guessing game. Oh, here comes an icing. We're going to take a break. You know how long the break was? 30 seconds. You know why? Because we were panicked that we were going to miss any part of the game. Hey, there's a penalty coming up. Let's take a break and we come back with a power play. We know we can get in 30. They're going to make a line change. They're going to set up. I've never understood why I would be into taking a few more commercial breaks at shorter times in both of those sports.
Agreed.
I wouldn't lose the audience in theory. The ad might be worth more because it's a one-off, or in worst case, it's a 60-second break. I've never understood that.
And I understand that, there's a little more picture in picture, but I have to admit, it's racing. You actually, I don't know. There are times where you really do need the sound. Golf, that ball gets pretty small on that screen, especially when you're doing picture in picture. Never mind the fact that you can't see the graphics necessarily, so you don't know who's hitting the shots. I don't know. But an hour less commercials this weekend if you're watching the U.S. Open on NBC. Little ode to Howard Stern there.
But I'm torn. At the end of the day, I think just because of where my day is and how I work, the Open Championship's a little better, but I'm fired up for primetime golf out west this week.
Yeah, you'll get it to about 10 o'clock, I think, both Saturday and Sunday nights. Because that's 7 o'clock out there, and it still gives themselves time if they have to for a playoff. Because they don't go to Monday anymore. They try to get this sucker over with. I mean, I will say, if you're paying about $100 million a tournament, I could see where if you're NBC, you're like, can we end this now? We got a lot of people watching now. 80% of them are going to work tomorrow. Besides, we'll have to televise it on Peacock.
Boy, they would too.
Yeah.
At least the front 9 of the 18-hole playoff would have been on it if they're stuck on Monday.
I think the last time that they had the 18-hole Monday playoff was Tiger and Rocco 15 years ago. By the way, can you believe it's been 15 years? And I thought they had to move it to the 4-letter network because I don't think the USGA was like, yeah, you're not putting that on NBCSN or whatever the heck NBC's cable channel was then. All I know is you and I were doing an afternoon show. We were breaking every single broadcast rule because you are not allowed to do play-by-play. And you're not allowed to air play-by-play. And our producer at the time took his microphone and it was attached to a long metal arm and he put it up to the speaker. When Tiger and Rocco were going down the stretch, we were airing over the air with the television audio as to what was going on. We would only do it a shot at a time, though. Then we would pull it back down.
Right. Then we do our analyzation of it. And,
right. While they're walking around stalking putts, and then we'd go right back to Dan Hicks.
Yep.
Right.
Miller and Moulton on color commentary. Dan Hicks on play-by-play.
Right. The fines, if somebody had turned us in, we'd still be paying them off. Oh, my goodness.
So the U.S. Open gets going today.
You're going Homa, right?
I'm going a Perfective Homa and Koepka.
I'm going Hovland, Cantlay. If you go Koepka, Scheffler, or Rahm, I mean, let's be honest, you're no fun. You're just not. You're no fun. It's smart, don't get me wrong, but you're no fun.
If you go Rory, you're nuts.
Right. You're fun, though.
I can't put his name with those other 3 anymore. I can't.
Well, you can till Sunday.
It's a dadgum good point. Miller and Moulton. We'll talk some USF. We'll talk some NIL and the starting 5 coming up in 25 minutes right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
DC Fox had the U.S. Open 5 years. They were supposed to have it 12. And then the pandemic hit. And when the USGA rescheduled the U.S. Open for late September, Fox went, well, okay. But we're only going to be able to air it on FS1. And the USGA said, no, read the contract. You can't do that. And Fox said, yeah, there's this thing called the National Football League. And yeah, we're not showing your golf. And the USGA said, well, better figure it out. And so Fox tried to entertain the idea of like pawning it off for 1 year somewhere else. But ultimately, when they were talking to NBC about doing that, Fox just basically said to NBC, you want it? And NBC said, well, we ain't paying what you paid for it. That's ridiculous. And Fox said, how about we split it in half? You pay half, we'll pay half just to get rid of it. NBC said, okay. So beginning with Winged Foot in 2020, NBC got the U.S. Open back. The USGA is making about $100 million a year, half of it from Fox. But Fox had Spieth, DJ, Koepka, Woodland winning the U.S. Open. I was Joe's spotter. I was his main information guy. Hardest work I've ever done. Incredibly pressurized. It was very hard. Very intense. Awesome when it was over. But, whew.
Whenever a sloppy moment happens in a broadcast like that, David, though, that you were talking about before, I always think about all the obscenities and cuss words that are yelled in the truck, just bouncing back and forth. Oh, yeah, someone's getting yelled at right now.
I don't think there's nearly the swearing you think that there is.
Yeah, there's not, because everybody's worried about a live mic.
Everybody's scared of a live mic. It freaks me out when you swear during a break or Pat swears during a break. I hate it.
No, I'm talking about the people in the truck.
Oh, well, yeah.
But they're still afraid.
Well, no, they don't have mics, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, what goes on in the truck is different. But I thought you were talking about the. Oh, I thought you were talking about the booth.
No, not the booth.
Because trust me, it goes on to the booth.
But in the truck is what I'm saying. The truck, they're going crazy.
Okay, I'll make this quick ambient. What I did for Joe, I had a 5x8 card made up for every golfer in the field. And I could listen to the lead producer and the assistant producer talking in the truck. I heard them live. And so I knew where we were going 2 to 3 seconds before they told Joe. And during that 2 to 3 seconds, I would find the card for that golfer, put that card in front of Joe. So that Joe knew when a golfer appeared on screen, he'd look down at the card and that's who it was. And then on the front of the card was the guy's golfing resume. And on the back of the card were his stats, whether it be for the season or for the U.S. Open. So Joe had information on him. You know, if the guy steps away from a shot and takes another 40 seconds, he's got info. And then I would also, write notes and pass them to Azinger and Joe if something was going on or something to think about, or like, if somebody's lining up a birdie putt and I knew this is for his third birdie in a row, I may just slide that to Joe and go, this would be third birdie in a row. Now, Joe may already realize that, but he may not. But it was intense. I made one mistake. U.S. Women's Open. 20 minutes into a 5.5-hour commercial-free broadcast, I made a mistake. Well, Joe was not happy. Nor should he have been.
Gave him the wrong card?
Lexi Thompson had a caddy whose last name was Thompson. And I always identified whether there was a relationship between caddy and golfer. And I didn't have brother written down. And he asked me.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. What are our magic numbers? 72, 77, 84. 10 weeks from Saturday, week 0, college football season. Notre Dame's in Ireland taking on Navy. USC's in action as they begin their final year of the Pac-12. By the way, how odd is it? You know, Big Ten released their 2024, 2025 schedules. And you see, you know, USC, Nebraska. You're like, are they playing in like the Fiesta Bowl? Wait, they're playing in October in Lincoln? What? And then last night, the SEC with their 2024 schedule release. And it's like, yeah, that whole Oklahoma, Texas thing. That's really on.
Not so much for the Gators, however, who do not have either Texas. Oh, they do have Texas. They have a roadie with Texas.
I think 1940, last time they've played Texas in football.
Really?
All I read. Yeah, 39 or 40, something like that.
So Florida gets, for the 24 schedule, Kentucky, LSU, Ole Miss, and A&M at home. Mississippi State, Tennessee, and Texas on the road in the Georgia game.
What's also worth mentioning, though, remember, next year, you know, and by next year, we don't mean this coming season. We mean 2024. That's going to be a big year for Napier. That's going to be third year. The expectation is they're not going to be all that great this year. They're going to win 5, 6, 7 games, something like that. And people are going to be grumbling, going, come on, when are we going to start winning again? And by year 3, it's like, hey, it's make it happen time. So, Mark, it's not only that 8-game SEC schedule, which isn't the most brutal schedule. I mean, there's no Alabama anyway. It's not easy. I mean, LSU, A&M, Texas, Georgia, Tennessee. I mean, it ain't easy.
Thank you.
But there's no Alabama, Auburn. Believe it or not, it could have been harder. But they're opening with the Canes. They're hosting UCF. And, of course, they go to Florida State. They're playing 11 Power 5 games in 2024. 11. Only Sanford, not Stanford, Sanford. Okay, that's their only, okay, we can rest some guys. We show up, we win today. Make sure you sell plenty of, soda and popcorn, get the parking revenue. I mean, got to admit, if you're Billy Napier, you're like, do you guys want me to fail? I mean, can I show you some comparative scheduling, please? This is not easy.
It's a great schedule.
Yes.
What we want.
So now if you're a Gator season ticket holder for 2024, you get the Canes, you get UCF, and you get Kentucky, LSU, Ole Miss, A&M. Okay, obviously can't get Georgia. Yeah, the Texas game's on the road, and Tennessee happens to be on the road in 24. But A&M in 24, by the way, is going to be really good. You start adding up, and I know Jimbo's lost some recruits off that great 2021 and 22 recruiting classes, but Jimbo by 2024 is going to have a lot of talent on that roster. Now we'll see if he can win with it, but trust me, A&M's going to show up with a roster looking better than Billy Napier's. Did you see, by the way, South Carolina's schedule?
In 24?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. How about, hey, Oklahoma's is no cupcake either.
No. And I give Sankey credit. He was an adult, Mark. Remember, I proposed being a petulant child.
Yes, you did. You not only proposed it, you were convinced that you should have been if you were running the SEC. You were not going to give any rivalries to anyone. You were going to stick it to all the teams and say, see what I can do because I'm running the schedule.
Yep. Guys don't want to go to 9 games, which is the perfect schedule, and the 3 permanent rivals, and then we see everybody home and home in a 4-year period of time. Fine. We're just going to cross over these divisions. You ain't going to play any of the teams you're used to playing. How do you like them apples? I thought the SEC did a great job. First off, all 14 current members are playing Oklahoma or Texas in 2024. They figured out a way. Okay. In they're everybody's playing everybody, basically. That you are seeing Oklahoma, okay, or Texas. Okay, damn near everybody. That's number one. Number two, they kept intact. Name the rivalry game. I'll bet you it's on the schedule in 2024. You got to go to great lengths, I think, to find a major rivalry game. Like they made sure Texas is playing both Arkansas, A&M, and obviously they're playing Oklahoma. You know, Bama and LSU are playing. Bama and Tennessee are playing. Bama and Auburn are playing. Hell, they even for good measure said, we'll send Georgia to Tuscaloosa in 2024. What the heck? But Mark, the one team that when they did it all and they sat down and they added it up, South Carolina is not playing anybody they're used to playing. South Carolina playing Florida? No.
Nope.
Playing Georgia?
Nope.
Playing Tennessee?
Negative.
South Carolina might as well be in what we call today the SEC West.
Yeah, they got Kentucky.
And Missouri and Vandy. That's their 3 games against the quote-unquote East.
But welcome to the SEC Oklahoma. Home games with Alabama, Tennessee, and then the Texas game. It's a home game for Oklahoma, but neutral site, obviously. Roadies at Auburn, LSU, and Ole Miss, along with Missouri.
But
that's
I'll give you credit
right there. Oklahoma got a welcoming party by the SEC right there and said, good luck. If you can get through this with a couple of losses, you'll go play in the playoff.
Well, and that's going to be a big year for him too, because he went 6-7 last year. He's by 2024, he's going to have a good season on the board. Don't know if he'll get year 4 if he doesn't have a breakthrough by 2024. And you're right, Mark. That ain't going to be easy. I'll say this. I'll bet you LSU's favored in 11 of their 12 games. Maybe at A&M, they might be a slight dog. But you look at who LSU plays and where they play them. LSU got a pretty good schedule.
Alabama, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt at home, Arkansas, Florida, South Carolina, A&M on the road.
I mean, come on. If LSU's as good as we think they are, and they're going to be preseason top 10 this year, and they'll be even better next year, because it's not like they're having trouble getting players. But I give the SEC credit. I thought they did a pretty darn good job. If I'm ESPN/ABC, I mean, there's, you add Oklahoma and Texas to the schedule. I mean, here, let me just, Georgia's at Bama. Bama's at Oklahoma. Georgia's at Texas. Oklahoma's at LSU. Texas is at A&M. I will say they at least took care of A&M. They made sure that when they played Texas for the first time in 13 years, they at least had to go to College Station.
And that was certainly the right thing to do.
But, Florida's Tennessee, Auburn, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Texas, Arkansas. Something even little. Kentucky's playing Tennessee. That's a border thing. That's a big game, actually, within Kentucky and Tennessee. At least they kept it on the schedule.
Miller and Moulton. Starting five coming up on the other side. Great show lined up for you today. Alex Golesh, the head coach of South Florida, will join the show, and Dan Lust, who's a sports attorney specializing in NIL, to talk about that situation.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Gator Dad, they're not playing FSU early. They play FSU on November 30th in 2024. They play the Canes week 1. They open with the Canes on August 31st next year. And then I think they play UCF like the very next week. No, I'm sorry. They play UCF in early October. All right, getting back. My screw up, if anybody's interested with Joe, 2019 U.S. Women's Open. On the top right-hand corner of every card, I had the caddy for that golfer's name. And if there was a relationship, brother, sister, mom, dad, whatever, boyfriend, husband, I would write that relationship in parentheses. Lexi Thompson had a caddy whose last name was Thompson. And she had a brother who caddied on tour. Joe, because there was kind of a delay and she's talking to her caddy, and Fox always had great audio. And he reads the name of the caddy. And then he says to me, "Is that her brother?" And since I didn't write down that it was, my first reaction was, I don't think so. And then Joe starts thinking and is like, well, what in the hell are the odds of Lexi Thompson having a caddy whose last name is Thompson and there's not related? So he leans over to me again and he goes, "Are you sure?" And instead of looking it up, which I always did, I remembered incorrectly a conversation that Julie Inkster had the day before on set about a different golfer and her brother who was a caddy, and thought that she was talking about those two. And so I said, you're right, it is her brother. And so the next time he throws in, Lexi talking to her brother, what have you, and Julie Inkster's head shoots around like, no. And Joe looks at me like, dude, you're my information guy. You're not supposed to be giving me wrong information.
How are they not going to the Supreme Court if this law is passed?
Oh, I don't know how that law holds up.
I don't either.
Yeah. Never mind, Texas yesterday became the 6th state in the country to make sure that all NIL info remains private. I mean, but if they pass this bill, that those laws are wiped away.
Right. The federal law would supersede the state law, right?
Right. Here's my thing also. Is there a difference between a public and a private university? No offense. We don't get private means just that. Like there was a thing that came out earlier this week about athletic departments and the amount of revenue they generate. Well, the only info we know are public universities. We don't know what the private universities generate. We can't get our hands on that info. But I love the fact of the 2 senators, one of them, Tuberville. He was a coach, for goodness sakes. Come on, Tommy, you know the game. Do we need to start disclosing how much you were paying for players? Come on.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Top of the morning to you. Hope your week's going well. Thanks for spending your Thursday morning with us, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Alex Golesh, the first-year football coach at South Florida. I got some good news this week. That on-campus stadium, that's a done deal, baby. Let's put the shovels in the ground. Let's go. Talk to the coach, see how recruiting and everything went. Last time, Mark, remember we were talking to him? We were like his afterthought. He was watching film on a recruit while he was doing the interview with us.
Yep.
So when we get him, I'm going to say, hey, do we have 80% of your attention this time?
Well, I wonder, I'm just curious to ask him. They promised him this stadium when he got the job.
Right.
I mean, this was all part of the pitch. We're getting an on-campus stadium.
Right.
How much did he believe him?
So whether or not they've given you that company car they promised you or the one that you were promised, okay, they are giving you your on-campus stadium. Of course, it's year 4. You got to make it. So he'll call into the show at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. And 2 hours from now, Dan Lust, we've had him on before. He specializes in NIL. He's a sports attorney out of New York. And, it looks like Congress is actually going to pass some NIL legislation.
And wait for it. It basically tries to screw the athlete every humanly way possible.
What?
Wow.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked considering they only took testimony from athletic directors, presidents, and coaches.
And a former coach is responsible for writing the bill.
Right. So we're going to get into that with Dan Lust in a couple of hours. I mean, it seems like it's a fairly big issue. It's only the future of big-time college athletics. I don't know. That seems important to us. So, Golesh and Lust. Sounds like a law firm, doesn't it?
It does.
In the 8 o'clock hour, we'll be joined by the law firm of Golesh and Lust, with offices in Tampa and New York City. Right now, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Well, how about we start with Major League Baseball? Because, well, there was nothing else going on last night. There's no way the Rays were losing 3 in a row to the A's.
We told you that.
I mean, we did. We're down to about $36 in our account, but we stopped short of back up the truck. But we were loading up a minivan, at least, on the Rays yesterday. They scored 3 in the 5th. Tyler Glasnow pitched into the 6th. Tampa Bay doubled up Oakland 6-3, snapping the A's 7-game winning streak. Marlins, we said, can you really sweep the Marlins? They're a good team. At least they are right now. We sure Seattle's going to win 3 in a row? Yuri Perez, 6 shutout innings. Marlins took a 4-0 lead to the 9th. Arise commits 2 errors in the 9th, Mark. Bases are loaded, 1 out. And Jesus Sanchez robs Seattle of a grand salami. Ends up being a sac fly. Marlins beat the Mariners 4-1. Toronto, Jose Barrios took a no-no into the 7th. They beat Baltimore 3-1. The Yankees stole home. Isaiah Kiner Falefa is on 3rd, and the Mets pitcher decides he's going to pitch from the full windup. And he never even looked over to 3rd. And so Falefa said, okay. And I mean, he stole home easily. I think he beat the ball to the plate. First Yankee to steal home in 7 years, but the Mets won in 10, 4-3. Twins scored 4 in the 3rd. They doubled up Milwaukee 4-2. Brewers are down to 500. Twins, robust lead in the Central because they're 2 games above 500. San Diego hit 4 solo homers. Guardians now 3.5 back of the Twins. Padres beat them 5-0. Braves swept the Tigers yesterday, Mark, 10-7, 6-5. And it was an afternoon doubleheader, too, 1 and 4:30. They were back in the hotel room at 8 o'clock with 2 wins in their pocket and steaks in front of them. Giants, Mike Yastrzemski with a 2-run homer in the 9th to tie it. Then they scored 3 in the 10th. Giants beat the Cardinals 8-5. Boston with 5 in the 7th beat Colorado 6-3. Don't look now, Mark. How about them Reds? Are they like a game below 500?
They are a game below 500, David.
They're almost in 2nd place, for goodness sake. Reds 7-4 over Kansas City after scoring 5 in the 5th. They win despite committing 4 errors. Cubs scored 6 in the 6th, beat the Pirates 10-6. Texas 3 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, beat the Angels 6-3 despite Ohtani hitting a bomb in the 9th, his 21st homer of the season. I think he leads the AL. Houston scored 1 in the 9th to win 5-4, a controversial ending. Games tied. Astros base runner clearly is running to first inside the line. Throw gets away from the first baseman because of it. Houston scores. Dave Martinez brings a photo blow-up of how far inside the line the Astros base runner was to his post-game presser. Oh, that's going to be well received by that umpiring crew. He began the presser by standing there and holding up the picture of how far inside the line the base runner was. I don't blame him, but it ain't going to be well received, I'll tell you that.
Should get a lot of calls today.
Yeah, and in the future, too.
Right.
I mean, it's not like umpires remember.
And they don't hold grudges?
No. Arizona scored 3 in the 8th to tie it, but the Phillies won it 4-3 and 10. Phils are back to 500.
Phillies are back to 500, David.
And the White Sox doubled up the Dodgers 8-4. A lot of baseball news off the field yesterday. Yeah, the A's are gone. The Nevada State Assembly approved the funding deal 25-15. So there's 2 steps left. Nevada governor's got to sign the deal. He's already said he will. That was before it was passed. And Major League Baseball has the grant approval of the move. Manfred already said he would. That was before Nevada even started debating voting on any financing. So the A's are gone. Their lease in Oakland runs through next year. Their stadium is not going to be built until 2027. So the big decision is going to be, do they go to the city of Oakland and work out a deal to stay in Oakland for 25 and 26? Or do they just pack up and play in a AAA stadium in front of 10,000 people a night in Vegas in 2025 and 2026? What would you do, Mark?
Pack up and play in front of 10,000. I'd be done. Start getting my roots in Vegas now.
Astros lose starting pitcher Lance McCullers for the year with right forearm surgery. He had not pitched this year, but they were expecting him back. Astros have a lot of injuries. It's going to be tough for the Astros this year. Not just to repeat. It might be tough for them even to make the playoffs. They're going through a lot. Oh, yeah. We had Seth Everett on yesterday. He said, there's 5 more teams who may lose their regional cable network. Well, one of them may happen today. It's the Texas Rangers. Apparently, Bally's has until close of business today to make a payment on the Rangers, or else Major League Baseball is going to start airing Texas Rangers games. They have until the end of the month to make their payments on the Guardians, Twins, and Diamondbacks, and they have a month to make their payment on the Reds. College football, we talked about it last segment. SEC released their 2024 schedule. 8 games, not 9. They kept almost all the rivalries intact for the year. Florida is going to play Kentucky, LSU, A&M, and Ole Miss at home. Kentucky, LSU, A&M, Ole Miss come to the Swamp in 24. The Gators will go to Texas, Tennessee, and Mississippi State. They haven't played Texas in football since World War II. Gators will also play the Canes, UCF, and at Florida State that year. 11 Power 5 games on the Gators 2024 schedule. Remember, UCF is in the Big 12 now. NFL, Bucs signed their first-round pick, Kalijah Cansey, and their third-round pick, Yaya Diaby. They've signed 7 of their 8 draft picks. Homer Jones was a good player for the Giants back in the day, wide receiver. He's credited with bringing the celebratory spike to the NFL. He died yesterday at the age of 82. U.S. Open underway today at LA Country Club. It's never been played there before. Purse is $20 million, Mark, the most amongst the majors. To give you an idea, 7 years ago when Dustin Johnson won at Oakmont, the purse was half what it is now. Think any of these guys going to thank Phil? Any of them? No?
Well, some might. Rory never will.
Right. By the way, Ricky Fowler, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas look as if they're going to buy into ownership of Leeds United. Apparently, the 49ers are going to own the majority stake of Leeds United, who just got relegated this year. So now they're going to be in the second league, if you will, the EPL. And Fowler, Spieth, and JT apparently have a deal with the Niners. Their investment arm is who's going to own Leeds United. And apparently they're buying in. Fowler's never seen a European soccer match. He admitted that. He goes, but I'm in. I'm interested. I want to go. I want to do this. So we'll see. Maybe he can win at that, Mark.
Ads must have paid a lot of money to him.
If you want to know what it takes to win Lord Stanley's Cup, remember the Panthers came up short. And we talked yesterday about Matthew Tkachuk had a broken sternum. And he came back and played periods 2 and 3 of game 3 with it. Had a goal and a helper, by the way, in the win. And then played game 4 with the broken sternum before it just being too much and he couldn't play in game 5. Aaron Ekblad, their defenseman, turns out he broke his foot in the Bruins series. That was the first round. Then he tore an oblique. How painful does that sound? Oh, no, wait. And then one of his shoulders Yeah, that sucker got separated 3 times, had to be popped back into place 3 times. That's just who they're willing to talk about. Load management in the NBA, huh? Okay. All right. And you want to know why some of us don't have a sense of humor about it. Sports Illustrated has obtained a draft of the bill that Tommy Tuberville and Joe Manchin, one a Republican, one a Democrat, are working on. It would prohibit college athletes from striking NIL deals until they're 1 semester into their college career. So in theory, NIL could not be the recruiting enticement to bring the guy there. So how many players are going to leave high school a semester early and enroll in January, get their semester in, and imagine that.
They can get paid in the fall.
Look at that.
You mean what they're all doing right now anyhow?
Also, the NIL collectives, will have to sign a contract with the school that they're raising money for. See, right now, wink, wink, nod, nod, they're not directly affiliated with the school. It's all a joke. But also, athletes must disclose the contract with the school. They have to make these NIL deals public.
Disclose them with the school?
Right.
That would make them employees almost, wouldn't it?
No, the bill goes out of the way to make sure that they're not technically designated
it's really
as
interesting how they can walk that fine line. First off, if this gets passed, it's going to end up in the Supreme. This is ridiculous.
So the NIL has to be affiliated with the school. The kid has to disclose what he's making from the NIL, but he's not an employee. Here's the funny thing. Texas yesterday became the 6th state to pass that NIL contracts must remain private. This bill in the Senate would make every one of them public. Oh, by the way, you'll love this, okay? The NCAA is in control of investigation and enforcement. But here's the funny thing. Think about this. This is a money deal. So if they find there's a problem, something has gone on that shouldn't have, Mark, do you know what it technically is? It's a violation of FTC rules, of the Federal Trade Commission. So the only thing the NCAA is going to do is pick up the phone and call the government. Go, hey, man, you got to look into this. We're going to talk to Dan Lust in an hour and a half about this. And that was the starting 5.
Miller and Moulton. I hope that explained everything to you a lot more simply, because it seems to have really worked out well now that we've taken this to the hill.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You know how when you spend a lot of money for something and then the people try to say, well, you're a VIP customer now. And so, you get this for free and this for free and this for free. And you look right at them and you go, yeah, I'm pretty sure I just paid for that. So this new air conditioning company who gave us the new unit yesterday. They're like, you call and, we just come out, no charge. I looked at the check. I was about to hand the guy and I go, I don't know. Looks like a charge. KW, a Panamanian what? Yeah, Adam, Mark Davis is not going to let the Raiders, plus it's a football stadium. There are seats that are not, movable. Exactly, Paul. Complimentary breakfast. I don't know. This room's $229 a night. I figured breakfast is worked in. But see, Captain, how can you like the one semester wait idea? Because we all know that they're going to get around it. I mean, why put it in there if it's...
This just helps guys early enroll.
I mean, I know the intent. Intent is theory. Now NIL is not being used as the direct enticer for recruiting. But think about it. If the deals have to be disclosed, which we'll see if that actually holds water. Okay, fine. You're not going to pay me August 1st. So December 1st, how much am I making? Oh, by the way, you know who can get money up front, though? Family. I'm serious.
Yes.
Read the article.
Yep.
Family and agents and what have you. No, they can get compensation right away. Fine. Take care of my mom. I can get my money on the back end.
30 seconds.
Hovland's 12-1, Koepka's 9-1. So don't be telling me how I'm being a wimp and you are making this huge.
I didn't say I was. I just said, though, if you take Scheffler, Rahm, or Koepka, come on.
You're taking the guy that's fourth. He has the same odds as Rory McIlroy.
Okay.
10 seconds.
What's Cantlay?
Hang on.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. And see, this is the time of the year where you need the magic numbers. These are the dark days of summer as a sports fan, even though it's not technically summer yet. 72 days away from college football, if week 0 is enough for you, if that's all you need to see. Notre Dame's playing Navy in Ireland. USC's playing somebody. All right, there's 7 games. That counts. Let's go. 10 weeks from Saturday, 72 days away. 11 weeks tonight, Gators in Utah to play the Utes. UCF in action as a member of the Big 12. And 12 weeks tonight, Lions and Chiefs.
Oh, my.
So 72, 77, 84 are your magic numbers, ladies and gentlemen, to when you will have football again.
So the U.S. Open gets started today.
About 2.5 hours, I think, is the first tee time.
David Moulton.
Uh-oh.
What did you just call me earlier for taking Koepka? What was your...
It was something not flattering. You know, Koepka was one of your 2 picks.
Max Homa and Brooks Koepka are my picks.
Right.
Max Homa is 28-1, and Koepka's 11-1, according to BetMGM.
Koepka's 11-1?
Yes.
That's better odds on him than I thought you'd get. But I made a comment that said, come on, really? If you're taking Scheffler, Rahm, or Koepka, I mean, come on. Oh, fun. I said, that's not fun.
It's not fun.
You're not fun. That's
my
right.
2 guys combined that I'm taking, if you just add up their odds, are 39-1. Max Homa's 28-1, Koepka's 11-1.
Homa 28-1's got to be the best bet on the board. I can't believe that's a good number for him.
Victor Hovland and Patrick Cantlay are both 16-1. You add those 2 together, that's 32. Just saying, you have
took
on your sheet the 2 guys that are 5th, tied for 5th of the best odds to win the tournament. I happen to have the guy that's 3rd as my backup pick. And you are going out on a huge limb.
No, I didn't say I was going out on a huge limb. I just said that my picks were a little more fun than yours. I mean, Koepka? Wow, he finished T2 at the Masters and won the PGA. Oh. Why don't you pick Scheffler or Rahm while you're at it?
Because Scheffler can't putt.
Well, and he's teasing everybody. And don't laugh. The bettors in Vegas want to know. He's talked about changing putters.
If he changes putters, I'd bet him. I'm not messing around. This cross-handed zebra, Scotty, I don't know what to tell you. It's time to make a change. Nobody's hitting the golf ball better than you are right now. Nobody. It's not close.
And that's what Vegas has basically said. They're like, let us know if he's changed putters. We're reducing his odds. So, I mean, Scheffler nearly won the Memorial, where he was like 21 strokes ahead of the field, tee to green. Didn't even get in the playoff. Ouch. That means you're 5 shots a day giving it back on the greens. My goodness. So, and Cantlay is ranked 4th in the world, and what's Hovland, like 5th or 6th? I mean, I really went out on a limb too, Mark.
I mean, nuts.
Not just bat blank crazy, right? I mean, you took 2 top 10 players. I took 2 top 10 players. I mean, we are just risky, rolling the dice.
But I'm looking at some of these odds, and like Tommy Fleetwood's 45-1. There's no way I would put down 4 cents on Tommy Fleetwood. He couldn't hit a 4-iron into the fairway last week in a playoff. How's he going to do at the U.S. Open when you're really grinding late on a Sunday?
Well, he's got a second-place finish in the U.S. Open, though.
Hopefully I set him up to win, but I wouldn't touch him.
He had that great final round at Shinnecock and nearly caught Koepka.
Did you see after the 4-iron into the rough, the 9-iron into the rough on the playoff on his 72nd hole? Did you see those 2 shots when pressure was on him? What happened? He looked like a 12 handicapper.
Mark is north of the border. It's a lot of pressure playing north of the border. But there's no doubt that he has not won a PGA Tour event. And even though he's been a Ryder Cup hero and he's won many times on the European Tour, but he has not won a PGA Tour event, and it got to him. He's well aware he has not won a PGA Tour event. You had the Canadian trying to win the Canadian Open, who was well aware that a Canadian hasn't won this sucker in a while. And you got the guy from England who knew, I've done this before. So they were both kind of gripping it a little tight there for a while, coming down the stretch till the 72-footer anyway.
Oh, there's no doubt. But after watching that, my trust in Tommy Fleetwood winning golf tournaments went out the window. He's got a par 5 and he's got a 4-iron in his hand off the tee. He's got to hit the fairway with a 4-iron. That should be easy for those guys.
I picked Justin Rose at the Masters. I might throw a few shekels on Rose at the Open, though, because he plays tough courses very well. He's a former U.S. Open champion. He's in pretty decent form. He was around the first page of the leaderboard in Canada. I think he finished tied with Rory. I think he got a top 10 out of Canada. He didn't do anything on Sunday, but he was there heading into Sunday. Plays tough courses well. He can make pars. It would not surprise me if Justin Rose is sniffing around this thing on Sunday. And I'll bet you I could get good odds. You think I could get 40? Justin Rose?
Justin Rose at 45-1 right now.
There you go. I think everybody should get a foursome to pick. I don't think you should be.
No, that's 4, and I'm not joking, 4 or 5. I mean, the way to really play this, if you're going to gamble, is bet a couple of guys on the shorter odds, bet a couple of guys medium odds, and take a flyer.
So DC in our Twitch chat rooms asking if the Canadian Open used to be after the U.S. Open. Oh, yeah. Canadian Open, in fact, used to be after the British Open. Okay, because Lee Trevino one year, won the British and then went to Canada 2 weeks later and won the Canadian. And then from there, they, went to Firestone and began to wrap things up. But that's a PGA Tour. That tour doesn't exist anymore. Hell, we don't even know if 10 or 12 of these tournaments. DJ, there's 2 golfers, Mark, who are letting a little something out of the bag. And wouldn't you know it, they're from the LIV side. Why? Well, because the guy with the money on the LIV side, he talks to his players. So DJ and DeChambeau have both said a little something this week. They're like, nah, we're going to play next year. No. We're next year's pretty much lined up and what have you.
And the tour players are saying that they're not going to play next year, but they have nothing to back that up.
Right. Hell, their commissioner's in the hospital.
At least we think, or he's at home, because there's zero information. I mean, Monahan has a medical condition that is causing him to take a leave of absence. We have no idea what the medical condition is. We have no idea for how long. We have no idea really how serious it is.
There's a tour board meeting in 2 weeks. Whatever the tournament is heading into 4th of July weekend. All right, so the last few days of June and then July 1st and 2nd they're supposed to have a tour policy board meeting that week. So, I mean, I'll tell you what, if he doesn't show up for that, then I would be concerned this is something serious. As opposed to he just want to get away, which is what it could also be. Nobody needs to see me at the U.S. Open. It's a USGA event. I don't need to be there. I'm taking a week off. But DeChambeau said, yeah, LIV is going to continue. And when pressed on it, he's like, I don't want to divulge specifics of the conversation that I had with the guy, but he's actually got some big things planned. And when pressed further, the only thing DeChambeau would say was the one word, global, unquote. And Mark, since you and I have followed this from the beginning, and we've been as open-minded as anybody to this, all right, we did note that, in the U.S., LIV is Satan. Worldwide, it's not. Pacific Rim, Australia, they've come out to watch these guys play because the PGA Tour doesn't play there. It's their only chance to see these guys. And so, anyway, the other thing that DeChambeau did say is, I don't think LIV is going away because this guy's got final say on the money. He did say those words. Okay. Remember that story that came out last week where one of the two guys who with Monahan negotiated this deal and he tried to make it seem as if the Saudi guy was just providing the money, but Monahan's, I'm in charge here. And we were all like, wait a minute. You mean the Saudis are going to hand over billions of dollars and they're just going to be okay however the hell Jay Monahan spends it? And if Jay Monahan wants to gut the LIV tour, the Saudis are going to be okay with that? With no final say on anything? And DeChambeau, because the earliest reports were the Saudi guys got final say. They can't do anything without him signing off on it if his money's involved or their money's involved. And DeChambeau backed that up in comments that he made this week out in LA. He's like, my understanding, he's got final say.
And all you're hearing from the tour players are repetitious words of what other tour players have said that Monahan supposedly has said, but
they don't know.
They just truly don't know.
It's the first time the athlete's saying, I'm reading your guys' stuff to find out information. I got nothing. You guys got better sources on this than I do. Cantlay, by the way, not happy. He's on the tour board. He's not happy. He's taking this personally. He's like, they're making us look like fools. They're making us seem like we don't have any power. We actually do have some power. And we weren't even notified about this thing.
Miller and Moulton. Text lines open at 21,000. Your thoughts on Live PGA or anything else that's on your mind.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
DC Tiger in 2000 won all three, U.S., British, and Canada. Lee Trevino in 71 won all three. The Canadian was the week after the U.S. Open in 71. So he went U.S. in a playoff against Jack. Then he won the Canadian in a playoff. And then 2 weeks later, he won his first British. I think he was actually named Sportsman of the Year by Sports Illustrated in 71. Did you see Ali Vellucci is going to work for the PGA Tour? She's the rinkside reporter for the Blades.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Good for her. Cincinnati Bengals are winning the Super Bowl.
Look at you. Where did that come from?
Joe Burrow doesn't like Taylor Swift, and I love him for it.
Well, know what we're talking about next.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. Thanks for waking up with us, so to speak. Hope your week is going well. U.S. Open gets underway tonight. College World Series gets underway tomorrow. Mark Miller's fired up today. Maybe it's the fact he eagled the last hole he played yesterday. I don't know. He's feeling it today. Taking me on about things that I've said on the show. All right. Referring to me in the third person when he's looking right at me. All right. Doing a show together. All right. And he just blurted out something during the commercial break. We're sitting in silence, staring at each other. All of a sudden, he just blurts something out.
The Cincinnati Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl.
It's like, what the? June 15th, 7:20 in the morning? What? Where the is this coming from?
Your favorite quarterback. Everybody could use what?
Joe Burrow.
You're damn right they could.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow decided to go somewhere that nobody else would go.
Where I thought he's on to Cincinnati. No.
Well, he is. And he's past Taylor Swift. Was asked of whether or not he was going to see Taylor Swift because she's coming to Cincinnati. And, Aaron Rodgers was at the Taylor Swift show. And I think he was at a Taylor Swift show, and they're dancing away and whatever. He even answered at PC. He says, I have a lot of respect for what Taylor Swift has done with her career. I can't say I'm listening to too much Taylor Swift on the speakers and the headphones. I know a lot of people that are, but that's just not me.
All right, you got me.
So let me get this straight. Because he doesn't like Taylor Swift.
Bingo. He's a leader. He's not a follower, David.
Well, that's
a leader of men right there.
Okay. So you think because he doesn't like Taylor Swift's music that the Bengals are winning the Super Bowl?
Yes.
Okay. Because to some of us that may sound like a strange correlation, but okay.
Then again, figure it out your way, David. I'll figure it out mine.
Mark, you make a dadgum good point because I'm betting on the Miami Dolphins to do great things because of the success of FAU, University of Miami, the Heat, and the Panthers.
And the Florida Panthers. Exactly.
Right. So I don't think I should be the one questioning your Taylor Swift Cincinnati Bengals logic here.
Now, if I find out this is all some sort of ploy that he wants to go to the show and meet her and he's playing hard to get, then I'm going to be a little ticked off.
He's got a longtime girlfriend. I was just going to ask, okay, if she wants to go.
Send her with her friends.
Well,
the way it was intended to.
I didn't realize.
He said, I did say, I heard the tour is a lot of fun, though. Maybe I'll stop by. I like that. It's the hardest ticket to get on the planet right now.
He's Joe Burrow. And
no, I that's a flex right there.
Yeah.
That is a total flex. I don't listen to her music. I don't really like her music. But you know what? If I'm in the mood, I'll stop by the show because I'm Joe flippin' Burrow.
Exactly.
That's my house, not hers.
Everybody here knows me. Okay. All I have to do is walk up to the front gate and go, hey, how's it going? Okay. All right. So that's done. There you go. I'm going to hold you to it. Going to hold you to it. In about 10 weeks, we're making our picks. All right. I'm picking Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Why? Is it because they went out and they got a new lineman? It's because, they're keeping Joe Mixon in the fold? No. Burrow doesn't like Taylor Swift. That's a champion right there.
Not succumbing to pop culture and doing everything that needs to be done to keep certain element happy.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay. Hey, I can respect that. I'm betting money. Hell, I'm just about ready to put money on the Marlins. I'm riding this FAU Canes basketball Heat Panthers wave to such a degree. I'm willing to put money on everything that's, Hell, I may put money on the mayor of Miami who's running for office now. What the hell? If it's a South Florida, whatever, just sure, I'm in.
Time now for our Clutch Vodka play of the day. I think we're going to go back to South Florida for this one, or at least roundabout, because they were on the road. But Felipe, what do you have for us?
It's going to be a lot of baseball in the Clutch Vodka play of the day for the next few months, but hopefully, more specifically, a lot more Marlins baseball, which is where we go in Seattle. Marlins trying to avoid the sweep against the Mariners. Up 4-0, bottom of the ninth in Seattle. Bases juiced. Long fly ball hit to right field.
Now the next offering, swinging a drive, hit pretty deep right field. Sanchez going back at the wall. He leads. He made the catch. He made the catch. He just robbed Suarez of a grand slam here in the bottom of the ninth inning. An unbelievable game saving grab by Jesus Sanchez in right field. Oh my goodness, he did it. He did it. He robbed him of a grand slam.
Jesus. And I don't mean that guy. I mean Jesus Sanchez. What a play. Home run robbery. Marlins win 4-1. Off to DC they go.
And if you see the photo, I mean, he's half a forearm above the wall when he makes that catch. Sanchez was quoted afterwards as saying, I jumped, and when my glove got heavy, I thought, the ball might be in it.
That's a great call, by the way.
Yeah.
That's a spectacular call.
Yep.
Save the game?
Well, absolutely.
Also, give him credit that he was showing excitement, instead of, being bummed that it was a deep drive to right field, off the bat, it seemed like a slam instead. That was awesome.
And that's our Clutch Vodka play of the day. That's Clutch with a K.
Marlins 4-1 winners. Felipe said they avoid the sweep. Rays beat the A's. They've got the mighty nooner today in Oakland. Technically, it's 12:30, but this is when people come out to the ballpark in Oakland. Of course, now they know they're losing their team. I mean, it's a done deal now. If you're just joining us, it passed the Nevada Assembly yesterday. So it's passed the Senate, it's passed the Assembly, it's going to the governor. There's 2 steps left. Governor's signature, he's already said he would. Major League Baseball to approve the move. They've already said they will.
Really, the only thing left to figure out is where Oakland's going to play between now and when the new stadium's built.
Right. Right now, they don't have a lease to play anywhere in 2025 and 2026. I will say this. None of us think the Rays are moving, correct? I mean, is anybody listening right now, never mind anybody who's got a microphone in front of them, feel that the Rays are relocating at the end of this decade? Anybody? I don't think so. But, I mean, Major League Baseball very quickly, decisively said, yeah, we're done with Oakland. I mean, do you think if the mayor of Oakland's telling the truth and she was 7 to 10 days away from what she thought was having all the ducks lined up on a deal to save the A's in Oakland, you don't think Major League Baseball knew that? And Rob Manfred's like, no, man, you got a deal in Vegas? Go. We're done. And we're behind you, by the way, 100%. I mean, if Sternberg ever starts talking about another city, don't think Major League Baseball will stand up for Tampa Bay based on what they just did in Oakland. When Manfred gets to the end of the line, he cuts bait.
And when you said that, I kind of shrugged my shoulders, David, because I don't know. If they continue to not get a stadium and someone offers a stadium, the age-old question that we ask on this show, David, where are you going to go? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Has there ever been a worse 5-year span for a sports city ever? Other than Oakland?
Why? Just because they're losing 3 teams?
Yes. In 5 years, they've lost 3 teams. I mean, if in 1990, I told you that this was going to happen.
Felipe, you told me it was going to happen in 2010.
But like,
Felipe, Tony Romo was threatened with being suspended from the league in 2014, 15, 16, because he wanted to have a fantasy football summit in Vegas. They threatened to suspend him from the league for having a fantasy football summit in Vegas.
Vegas. Why wasn't there ever really a sports team in Vegas to be? Was it the gambling?
Vegas.
Yes.
Vegas.
Yes. Answers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 were gambling. And then you'd hear somebody go, I don't know if Vegas is big enough to support a team.
And it wasn't big enough either.
It's crazy. Now we're having shows about gambling. It's unbelievable. When did the Raiders move to Oakland?
Well, they were always in Oakland, going back to the AFL in the early 60s. They went to Los Angeles in the early 80s. They went back to Oakland in the mid-90s.
Gotcha. Why did they move out of Oakland in the first time?
Al Davis wanted to make more money, and Oakland wouldn't do anything with the Coliseum. And he thought, since the Raiders were the most popular team in LA, he'd go to LA. Bigger city.
And it didn't work?
No. Even though they won a Super Bowl.
Crazy.
No.
It's too hard to get to. KW. That I'll argue you with that every day. It is so easy from the south to get to St. Pete. You go over the bridge and you're there. It's 90 minutes from Fort Myers, and you're in Port Charlotte. It's 70 tops. Tops. It's easy to get to. I disagree wholeheartedly, KW.
Man, do the Mets suck. They stink. So sorry, David, but I always pray on the Mets' downfall.
Why is that?
Hate
Oh,
the
you're a
Mets.
Marlins fan.
Plus, there's so many Mets fans in Miami. It's actually annoying how many there are. Plus, I had a teacher in high school that I hated who was a Mets fan. So that doesn't help.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the top of the hour. Alex Golesh, first-year head coach, South Florida football. They just got final approval. Going to have an on-campus stadium beginning in 2026. He'll join us top of the hour. We'll talk some NIL with an acclaimed sports attorney 1 hour from now. Can I go back to what we were talking about here and challenge you on a couple of things? So I threw out there, and I guess it was an assumption on my part, that because we were talking briefly about the A's and they're moving to Vegas. I mean, that it's been approved by the Nevada politicians have approved it outside of a governor's signature and baseball's approval. And both have said, yeah, we're in. So the A's are moving. And so, okay, the Rays and Tampa St. Pete are on the clock. And baseball wants this done. And the lease is up at the end of 27, correct? They've got this year and 4 more. And I said, come on, right now, do any of us think the Rays are moving?
I don't think it's an outlandish possibility. I
Okay.
don't. I mean, they already talked about the half season in Montreal. There's nothing going on. The St. Pete deal for the stadium is the only thing that's there. There's nothing in Tampa. If they get a stadium that started in St. Pete, they're staying. You know, I mean, if they get but it's not done yet.
Okay, so on a 1 percentile deal, 0% chance they're moving, 100% chance they're moving. Right now, if you had to pick a number, Card Shark's number, what's your number percentage that the Rays will be moving?
20.
Okay, interesting. A few people in our Twitch chat room, by the way, think they're moving. All right, one guy just said 40%. Wow, okay. I don't have that feeling. Now, my fear is they're going to do the deal in St. Pete, which we don't think is in the long-term best interest of the franchise. Great for St. Pete, probably not best for the Rays. But like you said, St. Pete's really interested. They got multiple proposals. Right now, there's nothing coming from the other side of the bay. Okay. A couple of things that need to be pointed out here. It's interesting. In Vegas, you know, it's just been approved, and it's a 30,000-seat domed stadium, and it won't be ready till opening day 2027. So that's almost 4 full years. The South Florida 35,000-seat on-campus football stadium, for, 1/4 of the price, by the way, no dome, will be ready in 3 years. But also, let's do the math. The Rays need a place to play for 4 years and 9 months from now, Mark. They 4 years and 9 months. That's the clock. If it was the lower right-hand portion of our TV screen, the clock until the show starts. The Rays Stadium, 4 years, 9 months. Because they need a stadium ready by mid-March of 2028 for opening day of 2028. Because the lease with the Trop ends at the end of 2027. Okay. Well, what do we 3 years to build it? How long do we think it takes to build this sucker?
That seems accurate.
And that's from shovel going in the ground. So really, we got about a year and a half here to come up with a deal. To have this stadium, wherever it's going to be, still in, the west coast of Florida, ready for the Rays to stay. Okay, that seems like not a lot of time. A year and a half ago, if you had said to the people of Oakland, what do you think the odds are you're losing your team?
I don't think that they thought it was a possibility a year and a half ago. I really don't.
Probably the way most people who follow the Rays and are fans of the Rays think their odds are that they're going to lose their team.
There was the time they were talking about going to Ybor City. That's gone away. The fairgrounds are always brought up as a possibility, but there are no actual proposals out there for anything for a stadium being built in Tampa.
Here's what would scare me if I'm a Rays fan. It's cheaper to buy the Rays than it is to get an expansion franchise. It's going to cost you $2 billion minimum. They think it might even be $2.2 billion to win the bid to get the expansion team. You think the Rays can be bought for less than that?
Pretty close. I think that's about what they're worth.
The Mets sold for 2.4. Now, I know that was 2 years ago, but the Mets sold for 2.4. The Mets. What do you think you can get for the Rays?
Would it be cheaper to expand for an expansion
No,
team?
that's what we're saying. It's $2.2 billion for an expansion.
Right. Like if you're Portland, if you're Nashville, if you're Salt Lake City, okay, and apparently you all want expansion, and there's going to be 2 teams. They're going to go from 30 to 32. But if you're sitting there right now, particularly, by the way, I'll say it again, Pat Williams in Orlando, they don't want to go this route. They want to go the expansion route. I would say to Pat, it's cheaper to buy the Rays.
Would it be cheaper if you buy the Rays and move them to Orlando?
Yes.
Yes, that's what we're saying. Because remember, it's $2.2 billion just to get the expansion rights. Then you got to build your stadium. Well, we think you can buy the Rays for less than 2.2. And by the way, you guarantee, you're not letting it come down to an expansion vote as to whether or not you're going to win. No. You're buying the vote. I'm buying the team. Let Nashville, let Portland, let Salt Lake, let them have their expansion team. I'm buying this sucker.
So did your percentage go up during your whole diatribe there?
No, I'm not willing to go as high as 20%. Not yet. Okay.
What would it take for you to change your mind?
It will take a city out there that's willing to do what St. Pete did 35 years ago. St. Pete built the Trop before they had a team.
Right. It was the San Francisco Giants.
And possibly the White Sox also.
Right.
There were 2 teams that really flirted with St. Pete. The White Sox and the Giants. White Sox got funding for a new stadium. Giants decided, screw it, we'll build it ourselves. We're staying. And then the Rays got the expansion franchise, the Devil Rays. That's, Mark, what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the city out there that's just going to start building one. Pretty sure they're going to get a team, whether expansion or they're buying the Rays. That's what I'm waiting for. Nashville's got a AAA ballpark. That's not exciting me. Okay. Other
No, but
teams.
it's somewhere you could play while the stadium was built.
It's true.
At least for a year. I mean, you do have, if the infrastructure deal goes through to build a stadium in Nashville, you've got somewhere you could go play now. It's a better location than what they have in Vegas, quite frankly, David.
Like when we had Pat Williams on and we basically asked him, which do you prefer? He said expansion. Okay. But Pat Williams made it sound as if he's got the financing done for a stadium. He's got the location and they've got the financing done. Obviously no signed agreements. They haven't made an announcement. But Pat Williams is making it sound as like, listen, this is where we're going to build it. This is what it's going to look like. This is how many seats. This is how much it's going to cost. We got it figured out. It's done. Well, if that's the case, by the way, then Pat Williams needs to find somebody to take the team off Sternberg's hands or convince Sternberg, hey, we'll build you a new stadium. This is what it's going to be right here. Just wait 5 years, move the team.
And with Oakland going to Vegas, relocation now is going to be a lot more simple if the Rays were to move. Manfred's not going to hold back a franchise for a new ballpark if he can't get the ballpark in the city that they're in.
Oh, no. Manfred wants this thing done. He wants expansion yesterday.
And the other owners want expansion yesterday. That's the other side of this. That's lot of free money for those owners.
Bingo. They don't share that money with the players, by the way.
That's $4.5 billion possibly that they're splitting up between the 30 owners.
That's $150 million an owner to bring in 2 new teams.
What did the owners all just lose? The regional cable TV deals in a lot of markets.
And a lot of them claim they lost money during the pandemic. Restock those coffers by the end of the decade, huh? I mean, even for billionaires, $150 million is a decent amount of change. That'll get your attention anyway. It's not like a poker hand.
If you've got an extra $150 million lying around, we got a radio show for you.
Hell.
We'll give you Philly for a week.
Well, hell, you got 150,000 lying around. We can talk.
And we'll still give you Philly for a week.
Philly's price may go up, but right now he's cheap and available to work, not in real life, just to work. And I don't know. I was trying to during the break because there's also a debate, Mark, and I do think this affects the future of the Rays. What do you think baseball is going to do when they get to 32? Do you think they're going to do like the NFL, keep it the AL and the NL, and go to 8 4-team divisions? Or do you think they're going to go, we got to realign here. This geography doesn't make sense.
I think realignment's a distinct possibility, but I do think the American League and National League stay. I do think they want the tradition of having someone win a pennant.
But you think that baseball would be willing to have teams switch leagues?
I think yes, I do think that's a distinct possibility.
Because like an obvious division is if Nashville, which everybody thinks is the leader in the clubhouse to get an expansion team, Nashville, Atlanta, Miami, Tampa Bay. I mean, come on, that's a natural 4-team division based on where everyone's located, right? I mean, how in the world could you not have those 4 together based on geography, right? Now, it would mean Tampa Bay's got to change leagues. And so then you start going through it, and I'm trying to figure out what's Major League Baseball going to do because, Mark, that's where geography could really play into expansion. If you're Major League Baseball and you're starting to map out divisions, if they're already penciling in Nashville into a Braves, Marlins, Rays division, that fits nice and neat. Well, then in theory, take a look at the rest of the country, how it is you'd line up these 4-team divisions. You could probably then say, I think the next expansion team is going to come from here.
And either Salt Lake or Portland would work into some sort of division with Vegas and Seattle.
Although, just doing some quick math, unless I'm missing teams, like I put a division together of Dodgers, Angels, Padres, Giants, followed it up with a division of Arizona, Colorado, Vegas, Seattle. Now you throw Portland and or Salt Lake into the mix, you're probably taking Colorado out and moving them into a division with what? The St. Louis's and the Kansas Cities of
Or
the
leaving
world?
Colorado and moving Arizona in with the Texas teams.
Yeah, okay, could do that. There you go. So, but anyway, the Rays are now on the clock. I mean, make no mistake. They need a new place to play in 4 years and 9 months. And they probably need 3 years from shovel in the ground to build the sucker. So we got about a year and a half here to figure this out.
And no one thought Oakland was moving a year and a half ago. Nobody.
And if you thought Manfred bailed on Oakland overnight. He's got 29 owners saying to him, get the Tampa Bay situation resolved. It's costing us money. I think they also get to open up their TV deals the minute they expand as well.
Miller and Moulton. Just a little bit on what's ahead, in our opinion, for the Tampa Bay Rays. When we come back, we'll talk some football. Alex Golesh, the head coach of USF, will join us, and Dan Lust will join us in the 8 o'clock hour as well to talk about the latest with NIL. All ahead on Miller and Moulton, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I'll tell you what, I've got 31 teams in baseball perfectly aligned. But there's one franchise that is going to just stick out like a sore thumb right now. Like Nashville, Atlanta, Miami, and Tampa in a division. Dodgers, Angels, Padres, Giants. Arizona, Colorado, Vegas, Seattle. Yankees, Mets, Boston, Philly. Detroit, Toronto, Baltimore, Washington. Cubs, White Sox, Brewers, Twins. Texas, Houston, KC, Seattle. I'm a straight line there, all Central Time Zone, everything. Pittsburgh, Cincy, Cleveland. And then you got one spot open. And so if you want to put Portland, Utah in the same division as Colorado and you want to take them out, you know, I'm telling you, I can line up 31 teams so easily. But the Colorado Rockies, okay, Mr. Butte, I didn't say Seattle Central Time Zone. I said Texas, Houston, KC, St. Louis is Central Time Zone. Straight line.
Coach is on hold.
Awesome.
Ten seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, it's the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, Venice. The bonus hour awaits in the 239 1 hour from now. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Pleasure to welcome back Alex Golesh. He's the new football coach at South Florida. He's got his first game coming up here in less than 3 months. Follow the coach on Twitter at Coach Golesh, Golesh. Coach, it's David and Mark. How you been?
Man, doing great. I appreciate you promoting my social media outlet, man.
No, it's our pleasure. Listen, when we had you on last time, we caught you. You were busy. You were in the middle, recruiting and the whole deal. You literally, as we were talking to you, were viewing tape on a computer while doing the interview. That's how busy you were. You were multitasking. Okay. Have you unpacked the boxes? Okay. Are you down to doing one thing at a time?
Well, I did unpack the boxes, or at least my assistant did. And literally, as he handed me the phone, I was watching the recruit. So that part hasn't changed yet, and I don't know that it will. I think that part of it is probably going to be that way for a really long time here.
No, I mean, probably a really long time, forever. I mean, isn't it at the end of the day, that's where this all comes down to, is recruiting and nonstop recruiting, right, Coach?
Yeah, I don't know if it comes down to that. Obviously, recruiting is a nonstop deal that you got to keep rolling on, because it's ever changing, and as people make decisions, and as you're pushing to make decisions, other decisions got to be made. So that part of it is absolutely critical. But I think where we are as a program, certainly talent acquisition is critically important, but building the culture within our program is just as important. And I think we did a phenomenal job on the recruiting side with flipping this roster. We've done it really quietly. There's some that have been more publicized than ours, which is fine, and it's the way right now that I'd rather operate anyways, where nobody really expects a whole lot, and we just continue to raise the expectations within our walls here. But yes, recruiting, changing the mindset within our program, and certainly getting ready to play a game here in less than 3 months.
Well, obviously there are newer and different challenges to recruiting in the 2020s than there were just, half a dozen years ago. But is it easier now because of the transfer rules to turn over a roster? Do you think it is easier for a new coach coming in to get their guys into the program sooner?
Yeah, I don't know if easy would be the term. I think that you've gotten more accessibility to flipping a roster. I think when you say easier, I think, man, like you don't have to work as hard. I think you got to work even harder now, because although there are names in a transfer portal, you got to make sure it's the right guys. So I think it's the evaluation part has become so critical, where evaluation has always been really important. What the transfer portal has done is made you make those decisions in a way shorter time span. And so I actually think it's quite a bit harder to get the right guys than it ever has been, in terms of being able to flip a roster the way the rules are right now, that allow you within the first 18 months to make whatever changes you need to make as a new head coach. That part has been easier. You've been able to help guys move on and bring new guys in. To say that they're your guys, I think, is probably not a fair statement. I've fought that over and over again with our own players, because since December 3rd, since I took the job here, these guys have all become my guys. So it's just adding to, and I say my guys, it's really our guys, been adding to our guys and making sure that the fit is right.
How have you been able inside the program, not the guys you brought in, but the guys that you've retained, your guys, as you just called them, how and what has been the process of changing the culture that you've mentioned a couple of times, Coach?
Yeah. A daily fight and battle every morning when you wake up, to say the mindset is going to be one of winners, one of process-oriented people, and not worry about end result. and that's the culture you're building is the fact that you have to become process-oriented individuals that worry about the team more than they worry about themselves. That's been, when I say an everyday fight and battle, that's what we come in here as a staff and continue to attack how guys communicate when they walk in here, their body language when they walk in here, how they take care of their bodies, what they put into their bodies, how they train, their outlook on daily activities like going to class, all of it, creating an elite mindset that everything that happens within these walls and everything that happens outside of here with the 120 guys that are on our team, their mindset daily that we're going to do things the absolute right way, and understanding there's only two ways to do them, and it's the wrong way and the right way, and that we're going to do them the right way. And whether that's the definition of culture or not, I don't know, but that's the only thing that we have hammered home. We've never once talked about a football game. We've never once talked about when we play. All we've talked about is today and getting better today. And that's not lip service. We simply talk about perfecting our process on a day-to-day basis.
And just yesterday, Coach Golesh brought in Derek Brooks to talk to his team, and think about all that Derek Brooks brings to the table, not just as a player, but as a man, to go along with what the coach is talking about. He's Alex Golesh. He's the football coach at South Florida. Follow him on Twitter at Coach Golesh, Golesh, Golesh. Well, the reason we wanted you on was the news earlier in the week about, this on-campus football stadium. It's a done deal. It's going to happen. It's going to happen within 3 years. I'm sure it came up during, when you interviewed for the job. The significance of it in recruiting. We're led to believe everything's all about NIL now. We don't think that's true. How significant is this? I mean, hey, you guys have an on-campus stadium. The Canes don't.
Yeah. I don't super care about the Canes, to be honest with you. I care more about what it's going to do for our program, what it's going to do for our community. I think in recruiting, it's really twofold. More importantly than anything, it shows a commitment from our administration, certainly our board of trustees, to say, hey, we are investing in football at a rate that's never been done before here. And what's cool is that we're 26 years old as a football program. So when it's never been done here is really a loose statement in the sense that it's everything you're doing for the first time. And so that commitment from them for what comes with that, because with the stadium comes a brand new operations building for us, which we need. You need it just from a functionality standpoint. Staffs have grown tremendously since the facility we're in got built, and we've touched it up and made it really nice and super functional for our players. And they got a brand new locker room in here. Like those things are awesome, but the stadium, the new facility, certainly the indoor that's up and running that we're maximizing the use of, all of that shows a commitment to football. And for a young person and his family to say, man, football is really important there. Well, if football is really important, then I'm really important, and I want to be somewhere where it's really important. So from a recruiting side, it shows a commitment. The second part of it is simply what college football is, how we grew up, and what we think of college football as is a game day on a Saturday on a campus. Like, what's cooler than that, right? Like students waking up and doing whatever students do before a game. I don't know. I've never done it, but I feel like driving into work over the years, I feel like I know what they're doing in the morning, and they're having a fun time. And them waking up and walking to the game, people that went to school here, alums, and whether donors or not, it has nothing to do with that. More so alums that live all over the Southeast. I've met so many people that live in South Tampa, let alone in Sarasota and Bradenton and just south of here, and live in Polk County and live in Central Florida, that have season tickets, go to games, but haven't been on campus in 10 years. You know, and you go around this campus and you're like, holy smokes, how can you not have been here? They had no reason to be here. Well, now they're back on campus. They see what this campus has become. This has become a top 45 public school in the entire country. That's absolutely beautiful. And it brings them back to campus. So you combine the students and the alums, and you have a stadium that's not massively big. You have a stadium that's the right size to go compete at a really, really high level. And by right size, I mean that's what we are, who we are, which is what we're building, a championship program that's got an incredible fan base in a city that loves sports, and you're putting it right in the heart of campus and bringing people back to Fowler Avenue right here and creating an excitement level that hasn't been on this campus in a really, really long time, which, you know, is our job to create that.
Well, and Coach, for the record, I just brought up the Canes reference as, you know, it shows the significance. You'll have an on-campus stadium, and there are quote unquote bigger programs that won't. So that's why I brought it up. But thank you again for the time. You know, we appreciate it. We wish you continued success off the field, and hopefully we can talk to you before you open up against Western Kentucky.
Yeah, anytime. And not offended by the Canes reference. And I actually don't think bigger program. I think this program here is absolutely huge, and the bigger program reference is another one that's a perception that at one point didn't exist, and we're going to get rid of here really, really quickly, because bigger program, smaller program, like I said, top 45 public school in the country, in the top 15 media market with 52,000 students. I'd say that's pretty big time.
Alex Golesh, the new football coach at South Florida. Follow him on Twitter at Coach Golesh, Golesh, Coach Golesh. Coach, thanks for your time. September 2nd, they're at Western Kentucky. Their home openers, FAMU. Week 3, they host Bama, baby.
There you go. Alabama comes to South Florida to take on the Bulls in mid-September. Miller and Moulton will have an NIL discussion in about 25 minutes. We'll come back and reflect on what Coach Golesh had to say next, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. The Guardian has banned all gambling advertising.
What was that?
The Guardian has banned all gambling advertising.
Why?
Because, and I quote, It is unethical to take money from services that can lead to addiction and financial ruin.
Are they not taking pharmaceutical ads?
Well, what's funny is they're taking lottery ads still.
Listen, I'm all in on the coach, but I mean, he's not
We actually
willing to.
did that a few weeks ago, Paul. That was a while ago that Peyton Hillis did that. He just talked about it the past couple of days.
What, rescuing the kids?
Yeah.
Well, the one thing about South Florida when they play Bama, Sonny, they're going to play Bama the week after Bama played Texas. So they're getting Bama in a letdown week, and then the week before Bama opens up their SEC schedule. So with Ole Miss. So South Florida's getting them at the right time to cover. Let's not get crazy now, just to cover. Line's got to be 30, don't you think? When they play?
Maybe 39.
Adam, are you willing to at least acknowledge the roster that Napier inherited? I mean, come on. We just went over what Napier's problem is going to be. For as hard as his schedule is this year, it might be harder in 24. Love how he's not willing to acknowledge Miami's a bigger program. Right. Okay. They won 5 national championships there in the ACC. You've never played in a New Year's Day Bowl. You're in the AAC. Okay. All right. But you're right there. I got it.
More people go to your school than theirs.
Yep. Just because the television markets are comparable doesn't mean the football programs are. Come on now. I love you, Coach. We're all in, but come on now. Take a deep breath.
I want them to be good so badly.
Totally.
I don't get why they're not. I just don't get it.
It mystified us 15 years ago that UCF wasn't good when USF was. And it mystifies us now that USF's not good.
Salty division there, Nate. But I don't think they're better than Michigan. And I don't think they're better than Ohio State. They just got awarded some academic thing. Now, there's a lot of different ways to look at it, but they did just get awarded recognition for their academics.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Just got done talking to South Florida football coach Alex Golesh. Dan Lust will join us in a little more than 15 minutes' time. He's an acclaimed sports attorney based in New York City. He also teaches some law classes. He's been big on NIL for a few years. We've had him on a couple times before. The Senate's working on some NIL legislation. Parts of it seem frightening to us, and hell, the other parts seem unconstitutional. So we're going to talk to Dan
about who's the bill, Senator,
whether or not we're reading it correctly or not. Coming up in a little over 15 minutes' time. Listen, you and I love our coach speak. There are times in which we're willing to cannonball into the deep end with coaches when they're all enthusiastic. We're like, we're with you, coach. We're on your side. Loved how I referenced that, the
Canes are a bigger program.
Right. I just,
I did not take that very well, David.
No. Well, first, he didn't like us bringing up the Canes, and I brought it up in a positive way for South Florida. You're going to have an on-campus stadium. They're not. Okay. He just didn't like bringing up any other school. Oh, okay. That's fine. And so I just wanted to clarify. All right. And I just wanted to say, hey, I brought him up, try to, put you guys in a positive light.
Right. You doubled down on what pissed him off.
Right. With a so-called, and I said so-called bigger program. And he wasn't even willing to acknowledge that.
Nope. Thank goodness we did that with a minute left in the interview, or not we'd have been running through the commercial break and hanging up on Coach, and he'd have been really ticked off at us.
Right. And I'm sitting here going, come on now. There's a little difference between the two programs besides one's in the ACC and one's in the AAC. I mean, come on. There's a little difference than just one letter in the conference name. But nope. Not giving me that. Okay. That's who you're going to play for, South Florida. That's your guy.
Hey, look, I will say, you're trying to breed culture and trying to do all of these things. It's a hell of a lot easier to talk about a culture change and getting guys to work harder when the universities dumped that kind of money into the football program. I mean, I think it's easy for him to say they believe in him. He believes, the stars are aligned to do what you need to do right now.
Listen, he's looking right at everybody, starting with me on the other end of the line going, we ain't backing down. I ain't giving an inch to anybody about any damn thing. You got it? We're in Tampa, top 15 market in the country. We're top 50 public university in the country. We got an on-campus stadium coming in 3 years. We got plenty of talent in an hour circle. There's no reason we can't beat anybody.
And we support him in that.
Totally.
We have been miffed at the lack of success that South Florida's had in football. We actually think they hired the right coach a couple of times, and it didn't work for whatever reason.
I mean, what was it? 15 years ago when we were together, we were stunned why UCF was in the state they were in when South Florida had reached number 2 in the polls twice. All right. And then for, the last few years, we've been like, why the hell is UCF really good and South Florida's not? What's up with that? That shouldn't be. So you got us, coach. You got us. I ain't comparing you to nobody. Now on. Nobody.
We might even take the 31.5 against Alabama.
Right. You're getting them right in the middle of Texas and Ole Miss. It's a perfect spot. But if I can get more than 35, I think I'm taking it. If I can get 35.5, I'm in. But remember the AD a few years ago when UCF was making a big deal about, well, we're only going to do it if we can get a home and home. And South Florida's like, no, we'll do 2-for-1s.
All day long. Line them up.
And so a few of the big boys called them up and said, you want a 2-for-1? We'll do a 2-for-1. First one to call was Alabama. Done. Okay. Good deal. Good deal. So I just go for it.
Oh, I caught this headline during the break, and it's across the pond, but The Guardian, pretty big website, news source across the pond. Yeah. Right. They're banning all gambling advertising.
What are they, the state of Florida?
That's what I thought. but particularly online, saying that could trap gamblers in an addictive cycle. And Guardian journalists have reported on devastating impact of the gambling industry in the UK and Australia. So I just look at this as whenever we open up gambling in Florida, that's more money for us. They're still taking lottery money, though, because the lotto does apparently good things with their money, and the casinos, that's just all profit.
Wait a minute. Like, people aren't addicted to buying lottery tickets?
It's laughable.
Have you ever stood in line? I mean, obviously the people running the Guardian have never stood in line for lottery tickets before. Are you kidding? I want 5 of this. I want 10 of this. Okay, box this for 2 weeks. Okay, give me that one over there.
And there is nothing worse than that. But essentially, you are going to buy your one quick pick ticket. It's like going to the horse track or the dog track, and you're going to make that one bet on the 4-horse to show. And the guy in front of you is a gambler. And he's got a box this, he's got a tri-wheel that, and you're sitting there going, I just want to bet $2 on the 4-horse to show.
Right. And I got 4 minutes till they go, listen, can you just work this in on the side here? $5 on horse 4 in the 6th race.
And it's kind of the same thing when you go to buy the one quick pick, and the guy that's in front of you is a lotto professional.
When they take the piece of paper out of their pocket, okay, and the list, this is what I need to buy. It's like, damn. Oh, speaking of which, this is not an exaggeration at all. I never buy less than 10 items, even though I've got, the big hang up about it. I'm always getting, because I'm in charge of the fluids in our house. I mean, I get like 8 gallons of water. I buy like a dozen Gatorade Zeros. Okay. I mean, I always have 20, 30, 40 items in the cart when I go grocery shopping, even if I only just buy fluids. Well, the other day I ran in for 2 things. Now, one of them was water, but I only bought 6. And then I got bananas. And I'm like, I get to go to the 10 item or less line. So I'm in it. And I just see I'm approaching it. And I just see the top of a woman's head. And I go, there's only one person in line. This is outstanding. Zip in, zip out. 38 items in her cart.
Did you call her out on it?
Damn right. I started counting out loud.
Attaboy.
Okay?
That's my guy right there.
And everybody's looking at me because also somebody comes up behind me. They got 6 items. And I'm like 17, 18. Okay. And finally, the lady who's working the register looks at me like, come on, behave now. And I go, oh, I'm sorry. I misread the sign. The sign said 10 plastic bags or less. I'm sorry. And the lady who's got the 38 items, the lady who's got the 38 items looks at me and goes, ma'am, I'm sorry. I was out of line.
Yeah. Yes, you were.
38 items. She had a full shopping cart.
Should be banned from the store.
Yes. Misdemeanor charges brought up.
At least a week suspension.
Not only that, because they're in the 10 items or less line, there is no bagger. So the lady at the register doesn't have anybody to help her bag the stuff with, and the customer's not bagging her 38 items.
Of course not. Do you think the customer's actually going to help speed this along when they've gone into the aisle all by themselves with 38 items?
I wanted to start bagging up her items and then throw them out.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN play of the day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the play of the day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka play of the day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I mean, this is wild, just having the four-letter network on. Right now, their discussion is, should the Pelicans move on from Zion Williamson? Hey, we're all looking for segments. They just live to talk NBA off season.
John Waldron. Oh, my goodness. How the hell are you? College buddy. To go work for like the defense department or the army or something like that.
Hobbs, I'm kind of with you. There was a funny TikTok account where they were throwing stickers on people. They literally had magnets that they would throw on the back of the car, condemning them for not taking the cart back. It is, and I was one of those that used to push it by the, between the two cars. Never anymore. It's maybe the most selfish thing in the world to not take your cart back to the cart spot.
I round them up in the parking lot. I'll round up like 4, put them together, bring them to the place where they should go. Lady went to tip me the other day. I go, I'm not kidding. Went to tip me. I go, ma'am, I don't work here. She looked at me like, well, then you're nuts. I go, yeah, it's just kind of an anal retentive thing. Don't worry about it. Really, Sonny? You think it's the jambalaya? That's because I don't think it's... Is that what we're calling it now, jambalaya? That's funny. I grew up hearing it called something completely different.
So there's a group text with the soccer parents.
Okay.
I only have a couple of numbers outside of the coach's numbers in there. One of the guys that I become friends with a little bit. And I thought a mom and a dad. But all of a sudden I got a random text from one of the numbers asking about soccer practice. I answered the questions. But then yesterday, that person sends me a text, says, I ran into Craig Handel yesterday at the Bonita Springs Chamber event. He mentioned your name. Like, how is Craig? Nice guy. I have no clue who I'm texting with. And I think you've passed the point now of this,
You can't go, who is this?
Thank you.
See, here's what you have to do. You got to play the lost my phone, Lost my numbers. Help me out here.
I'm going to see this guy in a couple of weeks at a party. And he's going to say something about Craig Handel, and I'm going to be able to figure it out. That's my plan.
You still won't know his name, but you know the face?
No, I'll probably know the name.
Because you know me, I wouldn't even know the name. John,
you can't eat without a shirt on.
What?
It's like I can't eat without a shirt on. Huh.
Oh, your dad had that pet peeve? Huh.
I don't think there's anything wrong with being a fat guy eating with your gut out.
Yeah, I just, pick the numbers up off your belly. The crumbs. What's wrong? By the way, John, if you're still watching or listening, I hope you are well. Mark, he was one of those that, got one of those mature 9-to-5 jobs with benefits like 30 years ago.
Dan's on hold. We're back in 10.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Final segment of Miller and Moulton along the network in Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The bonus hour awaits for the 239. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. His name is Dan Lust. He's an acclaimed sports attorney. He's co-host of Conduct Detrimental, the podcast. He's also a professor at New York Law School. You can follow Dan on Twitter at Sports Law Lust, Sports Law Lust, L-U-S-T. Dan, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this again. How are you?
I'm good. Pleasure to join you guys. And no shortage of sports law as of late. Always happy to join you guys and break it down.
Well, there's no doubt, but we wanted you specifically to talk about NIL. Having read through the Sports Illustrated article that details some of the bills, help us out with this, because right off the bat, this doesn't even seem like it will fly. And it certainly is all benefiting the schools and not much for the athlete.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a couple elements here, at least in our NIL world, right? You have states passing laws, you have IRS memo that came out, you have congressional bills coming out, you have student athletes kind of issuing a memo here. So no shortage in that world, but happy to take it in whatever direction you want. You want to talk about the IRS memo from Friday? I mean, it's up to you guys.
Well, first things first, you have states like Texas the other day became the sixth to say, yeah, all NIL deals have to remain private. And then reportedly, the Senate bill that Mencken and Tuberville are working on, one of the big things of it is all NIL deals have to be made public. Well, you've also got public and private universities. I mean, Dan, what's going to fly here?
Well, I guess we could take this at a larger level, right? This is unprecedented, right? This concept of deals being made public, private, right? We go just to our professional sense, where we kind of know what's happening. We know, by and large with the salary cap, we know what the on-field deals are going to be reported as. Now, with respect to marketing deals, we maybe hear kind of reported numbers. We don't really hear the exact numbers. So professional athletes are not required to provide details of their marketing, right? Now, why would college athletes have to do that? I'm not sure, right? There's no salary cap. There's no nothing like that, other than people wanting to know what people's deals are. I'm not sure what legislative purpose would be behind making these deals public. And it would seem odd on a state-by-state level to make that determination. But, I know that's being at least talked about in the federal level. But we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what legitimate purpose we would have to, for knowing all of the terms of these deals. Yes, the schools, should know of the terms of the deals, see what their athletes are getting. But I don't know why the public would need to know that.
At what point of the schools being part of the deals, as part of this bill, at least that's being introduced, talks about how are they going to be able to walk the line of not being employees of the school?
Well, that's the interesting question here. I mean, just so people know the full landscape, you have a state like California proposing something that's akin to a revenue sharing bill, right? Where if a football program makes X, football players should get Y percentage. So, you have elements of what looks like it could be an employer-employee system without those type of labels that's being proposed in California. This concept of student athletes being employees or resembling employees, that's nothing new, right? We went to the Supreme Court back in 2021 with this Alston case, and Justice Kavanaugh said that student athletes, in as many words, appear to resemble employees. So, I mean, what college football players, college basketball players, what are they doing that's so different now than what the pros are doing? They're generating money for the university. They're playing in a very intensive schedule. It's not that different than what, their professional cohorts are doing. So I'm not really sure what schools can do at this point to kind of wind that back. You have these players now generating money. You have them being brands online. You have them treating their bodies as if they're going to turn pro, right? You have guys coming in much more physically developed than they were maybe 10, 20 years ago. I'm not sure what schools can do to unwind that clock, but across the state or across the country, you're having states now having this conversation, especially California, who was the first to create an NIL bill back in 2019. If this revenue sharing bill gets passed, that's going to be a game changer. I don't know how other states react to it. I don't know how the Fed reacts to it. But you don't necessarily need a school to unionize in order to be declared employees. You just need states across the country to pass this revenue sharing bill, and that's going to get us much quicker to that question.
Dan Lust, co-host of the podcast called Conduct Detrimental. He's also a professor at New York Law School. Follow him on Twitter, Sports Law Lust, L-U-S-T, Sports Law Lust. Well, when the Supreme Court rendered that verdict a couple years ago, I mean, it was unanimous. I mean, the court hardly ever has unanimous decisions anymore, and it was all on the side of the athlete. I don't understand just the thought of legislation right now trying to limit the athletes. Dan, won't this ultimately end up before the Supreme Court again? And that court went out of its way, conservatives and liberals, conservatives louder than the liberals, in basically saying, yeah, we're on the side of the athletes.
Well, yeah, I think we will end up. I think we're destined to get there, but I guess we'll take it kind of on a granular level. Some of these states that are passing these NIL laws, like I work in New York, I work with some schools and collectives in the state of New York. New York just passed a bill. I know you guys are down in Florida, but I think Florida has a version of this law that's at least being proposed. We'll see if it gets through. But it's a bill that basically says that schools can now work in tandem with athletes to facilitate, identify, enable college athletes to earn compensation. So it's kind of a progressive bill. It just passed in New York, just waiting to be signed by the governor over here. And that's a bill that's generally allows schools to act, maybe a broker is not the right term, but to really actively help athletes. Now, everyone might say that's great. The problem is, to the point that you just raised about what the NCAA standards are, the NCAA does not allow schools to do that. But in our hierarchy of what will take precedent, right, you have the rules of a private association. Those will take precedent, absent some type of state law that contradicts it. And then we wait to see what the federal government will do, which will preempt any state law. So you have this law in New York that seems to be very helpful for schools, helpful for athletes, but you have some schools that are just, not wanting to take this approach because they still think that the NCAA might punish them, even though the state will protect them. So, to the point, like, the NCAA has been slow to react historically, right? Even in the wake of Florida passing NIL laws in California, and I think about 20 states had passed up until July 1 of 2021. It took really the NCAA until June 30th, 2 days before the NIL era was supposed to start, to actually take those rules off of their own books. So until the NCAA wants to adapt, you're still going to have schools being hesitant to do the right thing. But yeah, that's the world we live in, right? Everyone is still somewhat fearful of the NCAA acting and making an example of them, just like they did, right, with Miami not that long ago with the Cavender twins. So, as much as state laws are progressing and federal laws are progressing, you still have the NCAA that it's just, there's this lag time. It's 6 to 12 months before the NCAA does the right thing.
You mentioned the IRS and the collectives. Just how detrimental is this going to be to big-time donors trying to put money into these collectives? Do you see that slowing it down at all?
Yeah, I would think so. So for those that are unfamiliar, the IRS Chief Counsel had a memo, and it is newsworthy when the IRS comments on NIL, which is rare. I think it's the first time they've done it. But it's a memo, right? It's not necessarily anything official at this point. It's just giving you an indication of what's going to happen. So the IRS basically said, these not-for-profit collectives, these 501c3s, unless they're acting with the primary purpose to benefit a charity, what they're doing could be seen as illegal. Now, I know, a lot of these collectives have done it the right way. They've consulted with tax professionals, not-for-profit, officials, lawyers to make sure they're organized the right way. But on the other hand, I know there are collectives that call themselves 501c3s that don't do it the right way. So for those that are not doing it the right way, that didn't invest in the front end, I think those collectives either A, will cease to exist, B, have to do a lot of restructuring. But in any event, those donors that gave money with the expectation that it would be 100% tax deductible, they now have to have an interesting conversation with their accountant. Extra money's now going back to the IRS, you would think. So, yeah, I think that's going to put a sour taste in some people's mouths. But if you're one of these mega donors, right, maybe that's not that much money to you. Maybe you didn't really invest in a collective with the benefit of getting a tax break. You did it to help your school. So, yeah, but there certainly will be ramifications from that. I think there's 200 collectives across the country, and I think just less than half are not-for-profit. So you can imagine a lot of schools are going to be affected by this memo.
Well, we're not experts on tax law, obviously, but we thought that during the Trump administration that the major tax reform bill that he passed made it so that if you donated money to your university, you had to pay taxes on it. So wouldn't it then make sense that if you're donating money to a collective, you'd also have to pay taxes on it?
Well, yes and no, at least as of today, and we'll see what the next couple months hold for us. But collectives are separate and unique identities from the NCAA, or from the schools themselves. That's why collectives can pay predominantly football and men's basketball players without having to focus on the female side, right? They're not subject to Title IX like the schools would be. So, yes, if there is some law in the books that talks about, being taxed if you donate to a school, that would make sense. But completely separate of that, a collective is a complete separate and unique identity. That's not really, right? These athletes are not employees. The people on the board of these collectives are not, school employees. They're in theory supposed to be third parties, right? And the athletes are not employees of the university, so it's not a direct, benefit in that sense. But yeah, at least as of today, right? These are two separate entities. I know there's some conversations going on in Texas with a school like Texas A&M, kind of almost having like an in-house collective through their kind of fundraising arm. So we'll see if that's the next wave of these collectives if they get brought in-house. That will be a very different conversation. But yeah, for the time being, these collectives are completely separate from the schools.
Well, and, the bill that is being debated amongst Tuberville and Mencken in the Senate, and what reportedly they're insisting that all the NIL collectives have to then sign a contract with said school. So the bill that's being pushed right now in the Senate is going to force all these collectives to be directly affiliated with the schools, which right now, wink, wink, nod, nod, they're not.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if it passes. I've been waiting for this federal bill for about 2 years since we had back-to-back hearings in June of 2021. But we'll see. I'm not so quick to buy into any of these bills until one actually picks up some significant steam. But we do have, just so people know the landscape, schools. I think as of October of 2022, the NCAA allowed schools to endorse specific collectives. So you can have a school go out and ask donors to give to a specific collective, and they can make this the official collective of the university, or this is one of a handful of collectives of the university. You could do that. There could be some official, linkage. Now, there are, at some schools, 501c3s or for-profit collectives that were started that don't have the school's approval, right? They maybe were started by a rogue individual. That anybody can start a corporation. Anybody can say the purpose is to help athletes for a specific university, but it takes some trust to get that official nod. Now, with respect to a federal bill that requires collectives to sign a contract with the school, that's going to be a little different, right? The ones that have the official endorsement from the school, I'm sure it's not going to be an issue there. But to be recognized as a collective, you have to have that trust of the university. So again, in our landscape of this 200 some odd collectives, yeah, I'm sure there will be a handful that are not endorsed by the school, and those just maybe cease to exist, right? I wouldn't be giving money to a collective that doesn't have an official contract. They're kind of an unsanctioned collective. those will cease to exist. And I think that's probably a good rule to help weed out those collectors from the space.
Dan, and this may be a bad final question, especially since we're pressed on time. Are you optimistic or pessimistic that NIL and Congress and the NCAA and that, they're going to get this right?
From a timing perspective, I think, still, I think a federal bill will be passed. I'm hoping, I don't necessarily think a federal bill should be passed, but I think it will. But I'm curious, and just to, I guess in brief, I mentioned this New York State bill about schools being directly involved in the process. That's a new bill that passed a week ago, on Thursday of last week. I'm still curious to see what kind of creative solutions the states can come up with before I'm going to be so quick to say that the federal government should come in and just squash with the state's ingenuity. So I don't really know what the right state law is at this point. I think states are still playing guess and check. It's only been 2 years of data. So I'm okay if the Fed wants to wait a little bit and see what these states come up with. As we've seen, it's very hard to amend and pass a federal bill. And I'd hope when they actually pass one, they have the right one and not one that's based on a small sample size.
He's Dan Lust. He's co-host of the podcast Conduct Detrimental. He's a sports attorney and a professor at New York Law School. Follow him on Twitter, Sports Law Lust. Sports Law Lust. Dan, thanks for making time for us. We really appreciate it. All the best.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Dan Lust, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
Lot to get into there.
Yep. Serious topic. I know your eyes may have glazed over a little bit. We get it, but it's a pretty big issue.
And the states are doing what they're trying to do. The feds are looking to jump in, but as Dan said, we'll see how quickly any bill gets some steam behind it.
Well, it's fascinating, though, because you have elements of the schools that have lobbied their states to come up with legislation. Now you have elements of the schools and the NCAA who are lobbying Congress. And the bills don't seem to be one and the same.
And yet they're trying to get the collectives to work with the schools and not separate. Seems like they would be employees to me.
Yeah, and would also then
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles Or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Sorry, there he was counting me down and I didn't count you down.
Oh, that's fine. So my lawyer friend Bob just sent me a text and said, if you buy a 6-pack of Yingling, does that count as one item or 6? And I said, 1. And he goes, no. Like you can only
they ring each can. Tell them, ask them if they ring each can separately, and then tell them to shut the F up.
Right. That's
okay.
That's what I. Okay. I said
you
bananas.
6 avocados. You buy 6 avocados. It's 6 items.
Right. That's what I said.
If you buy 6 bananas, it's 1 item because they weigh it.
Right. Now, if the bananas break apart,
and that's separate items.
Separate items. Correct.
You buy a bunch of bananas. That would be like saying you buy a thing of grapes and they're going to take, and that's 27,000 items.
That's what he said. He said grapes are a problem. I go, what? I go, come on, Bob.
Come on, Bob.
Come on,
you need
Bob.
Of course, it's all ball bearings these days.
It's all fun and games till somebody loses an eye. By the way, you weren't listening the other day, which was yesterday, when we asked, what's your favorite sports, best win? Bob, my mom wants to know, is it involved the Yankees or the Devils? What's your best win as a fan? Of course, when Bob was a junior in college, his alma mater, which is my alma mater, although I didn't graduate, won the national championship.
Fantastic. A week away from season 2 of The Bear. Hulu show.
Okay.
Or I guess it's on FX. I watch it on Hulu.
We're making our way through Paramount Plus. Watching shows. Giving them a look-see.
I don't pay for that streaming service.
We're just about done with Mayor of Kingstown. Woo! Woo! Dark.
I'm watching Orange is the New Black.
Okay.
There have been times I've laughed out loud. I mean, it's a dramedy, but it's...
Oh, yeah. I watched it when it came out.
I figured I've put so much time into it. I got to give the series. It's a lot of seasons. I'm like in season 5 right now. Hard now with the daughter. See, when Maddie was in school, I could come on. I literally would knock out a show or 2 right after this. I'd go home.
Right.
Watch a couple shows.
Yeah. Wife and I do 1 to 2 episodes a night of a show. We're binge watching. We're 1 to 2 episodes at a time.
So a guy just did a Rubik's Cube in 3.13 seconds.
World record, 10 seconds.
I don't know if I could do one in 3.13 months.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour, Miller and Moulton, on this Thursday. Hope your week's going well. 72 days away from the start of the college football season if week 0 does it for you. Otherwise, 77 days away from that last day of August when the Gators are in Utah and UCF is kicking off their season. And it's 12 weeks from tonight, baby. Lions and Chiefs. Detroit Lions in the NFL season opener. What if they win?
I was going to say the same damn thing, David. What if they win?
My goodness. Got a 3-day head start on the rest of the league. There they'll be 1-0. The rest of the league hasn't even played yet. Yeah. Man. Imagine what Dan Campbell's locker room post-game speech will be like if they win.
He'll be biting ankles, that's for sure.
Oh, man. They might be biting his ankles. They'll be so excited. Don't you have to, if you're NBC, by the way, don't you have to have Dan Campbell, A, locker room audio, and then B, I know the Chiefs, they won the Super Bowl, Andy Reid, Hall of Fame coach, blah, blah, blah. If you're Melissa Stark, don't you have to interview Dan Campbell right before kickoff?
I'd want him mic'd up.
Absolutely.
I'd want him mic'd up. Speaking of mic'd up, did you see it's coming out next month? That Quarterbacks Netflix series is going to come out.
Haven't
Mahomes,
heard.
Was it Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and I forgot who the other one was, but it's a Netflix series on quarterbacks.
What about them?
They just do it behind the scenes, like the like the golf show, like the F1 show. It's a Netflix documentary that they're going behind the scenes all last year with different quarterbacks.
Oh, huh. Okay. Speaking of Cousins, by the way, quick sidebar. Did you see what he said yesterday? Because the Vikings have made no attempt to negotiate a long-term deal with him. And he said, yeah, well, we'll sit down in March and, see if we can work something out right before free agency. Kirk Cousins playing the game. Do you know the only contract he's ever signed that was not fully guaranteed was his rookie deal?
He has played this system beautifully. Mariota is the other quarterback. So it's Cousins, Mahomes, and Marcus Mariota were the three quarterbacks that they followed all last season.
Now, okay, here's what I would want to know, and I'd be all in. Mariota got benched with about a month left in the season. And remember, he walked away from the team for a day or two. I would love to know if they had access. That would fascinate me. That would be great, compelling television. A veteran quarterback, probably his last shot to be a starter in the league. He went there specifically because it was one of the few opportunities he'd ever have to be a starter again. Basically being tapped on the shoulder and told, your days as a starter are over. And the nice guy, great teammate, leader at Oregon, and, he was popular in Nashville and the whole deal, being so upset, he bailed on the team for 2 days. If Netflix had access to that I'm all in on.
I think the dynamic of guys that they got too. Mahomes, the best quarterback in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Cousins, good to very good.
Is he the most disrespected quarterback in the game?
There's no doubt. And then Mariota. I look it. I've not done Drive to Survive yet. There's too much out there for me to watch. I know it's supposedly great. I don't have the F1 bug. I don't have it. Sorry. But the full swing on the tour was terrific.
And I haven't watched it, but don't you hope that Full Swing somehow, some way had cameras and microphones with either Monahan or the Piff guy?
I doubt if I'm Netflix, I wouldn't want to get too close to the PIF guy.
Why? That'd be the guy I'd want to be attached to his hip. Are you kidding?
Yeah, journalists, Saudis, I don't know how close I'd want to be in a room locked with him.
Well, I'm not going to say anything bad about the guy.
Get out. Well, they're not big on press.
Well, no, they're not big on negative press.
But they do a pretty good job with their documentaries. So I'm all in to watch the little quarterback doc.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'll wait for your scouting report. I got to be honest. You'll have to give me a review. That'll be one of those, I'm waiting for the movie review. Back in the day when we used to go to movies, you wait for the movie review. If they got 2 thumbs up, you go, maybe I'll see it. I know it's been a while since the whole 2 thumbs up thing, but whoever your movie reviewer was, or it was the friend in your life who goes to movies all the time and you waited for them to go, no, it was pretty good. Oh, okay, I'll go. Like my mom, up until the pandemic, my mom went to the movies once a week, every week.
Not back yet? She's boycotted the movie since the pandemic?
It probably took her almost 2 years to go back. But, Mark, you got those, afternoon specials for the seniors. I mean, it's, $5 tickets, the all you can, free refills on the popcorn and the soda. I mean, my mother will drive 3 states to get free refills on soda.
Does she go to the movies alone?
No. Usually she's got 2 guy friends. They go together. The 3 of them have gone to everything together.
So she goes see all the movies that are nominated for the Oscars and make her own
No.
picks?
No. My mom won't watch a Daniel Day-Lewis movie. Are you serious? They suck. They win awards, but they suck. And they're dreadfully boring. No. Mm-mm. No.
Wow. What did Daniel Day-Lewis do to you? Of all the actors to pick out, that was, you just kind of arbitrary that you just threw him under the bus there.
Well, it's the whole method acting thing to the extreme. He apparently then for 24/7, if it's an 8-month shoot for 24/7 for 8 months, he's in that character. I mean, apparently he was Lincoln for however long it took to film Lincoln. Seriously? Seriously, dude. It's a role. Snap out of it.
Sean Penn was supposedly Spicoli the whole time, and I think that worked out really well for everybody involved.
I just thought he hadn't grown up yet. I mean, come on. Could you imagine? All of a sudden it's Saturday, you're working a half a day of filming, and then you're all going to sit together and you're going to eat. And you go, hey, Daniel, how's shooting going? And he's Lincoln? No, Daniel, no. We're done shooting. We're done till Monday. And he's still Lincoln? I mean, take off the damn hat, for goodness sakes. We're eating.
Now, I have a new dream. I want Moulton for a weekend with a method actor who won't get out of character, to see how it would go. Locked in a room, and we're going to film it. Someone did text the show and ask if anybody filmed you counting the items in the express lane, because that's an idea that I believe I was the first of the 2 of us to do it. And David liked the idea so much, he has used it. Because when I did it, the lady looked at me and basically gave me you're not a gentleman.
Exactly.
And I looked her dead in the eye and said, you can't count or you can't read. And that was the first and last time I had done that. I felt pretty good about it in the moment. Then I felt a little guilty after.
You should not feel guilty. It's 10 items or less. It's one thing if they've got like 16 items, okay, and they're trying to cheat, and we get it. You shouldn't do it. I'm not happy about it. I'm not going to verbally accost you about it. Lady had 38 items in front of me. 38.
For the record, during the commercial break, we did break down bananas. If they're in a bunch, it's 1 item.
Correct.
A 6-pack of beer is 1 item. They're not bringing each can in separately. 6 avocados?
That's 6 items.
If it's by the pound and it's in a bag, it's 1 item. If it's per avocado, it's
Correct.
6 items.
Right. It's how they ring them up. If it's 1, it's 1. If it's individual, then, that's it. That's how we determine items, by the way, for the record.
You don't have to make more out of this than it is. You know it. You're just trying to work it into whatever side that you're on in this express lane debate. But Miller and Moulton will count out your items for you if we catch you in line.
Especially if the shopping cart is full. I mean, if I can't see the bottom of your shopping cart because you have so many items in it and you're in the 10 item or less, no. This is going to be uncomfortable for you. You're making it uncomfortable for us. I think the least I can do is make it uncomfortable for you.
And the fact of the matter is when you see a shopping cart in the 10 and under line, you immediately start counting. Because most people have the baskets or just a couple of things in their hand. If you've got the cart and you're heading for the 10 and under, I'm already questioning how many items you have. Doesn't mean that you aren't following rules correctly. Because like me, you might be someone who just prefer to push the cart than to carry the little basket around.
For the record, my mother goes when the movies are between $5 and $8. Free refills on popcorn and soda. It's a $25 deal. So my mom goes to the movies for $30. Okay. All you can eat popcorn, all you can drink soda. And the movie, $30.
So she's as diehard of a soda fan as you are.
She just said, damn right I'd travel for free refills. I'm my mom's kid, man. There are a few things I got from my dad. His nose, feet, and storytelling. Everything else I got from my mother.
Is she a Diet Coke person as well?
Pepsi.
Diet Pepsi or regular Pepsi?
She's Pepsi. Yeah.
That's right. I remember when we stumbled upon my little taco joint that had the Mexican Coke and the Mexican Pepsi, and you were really fired up to get a Mexican Pepsi.
Yeah.
The only place that had the Pepsi. The Cokes are everywhere.
Right.
My mother Pepsi, and we're pretty ecstatic about that.
My mother has those bottles, okay, on the floor next to her bed. Okay. She loves them. Yes. Pepsi. My mother will go to establishments based on whether it's a Coke or a Pepsi place. No, we can't go there. They're Coke. Let's go over there. That's a scouting report, Mark. That's a scouting report.
That is something, by the way. And I'm guessing, if a restaurant changes on her, that could really throw the whole world into upheaval if all of a sudden they make that change. Miller and Moulton.
Then you have to decide whether or not you're going to a different place.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all of this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone, on 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. That's funny, Guillermo. Yeah, I am not a Pepsi person.
Coke or Pepsi has official soft drink of the PGA of America? Guillermo, that's hysterical. That's hysterical.
All right, I'm because you've got one division that doesn't work. I might be moving Philadelphia.
And that's fine. You know, listen, I'm just trying to figure out though. It seems as if the second expansion team is coming west of the Mississippi, I just don't see how it works. Because you got you got 8 teams that are Mountain or Pacific time zone. And I'm just thinking if you add a 9th, okay, and like let's just say you make Colorado the odd team out, and we're going to move Colorado, and then what? You're going to put them in a Texas division, and then we split up KC and St. Louis. Okay, fine. And once again, we get back to okay. Now, how are you going to keep sliding it down?
If it goes west, I might move Arizona with the California team.
It's the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Final thoughts, predictions. U.S. Open gets underway like 10 minutes, I think. 10, 20 minutes, first tee time.
Yeah, I think 9:45 our time is the first tee time, something like that. I
Okay.
know that's how long I have to get my bets in, David.
Well, just, and you're going to a couple of long shots, just like I am.
Going nuts.
Right. Koepka and Homa, right, for you? And I'm going Hovland and Cantlay.
I did see one of the services that I read had Patrick Reed as a pick if you wanted to go a long shot. And that's like 80-1.
I'm waiting for DJ to show up this year. Is that going to happen? Or is he just having a bet? He's nearly 40 now. Paulina's exhausting. We can tell. All right. I'm just, just wondering if, DJ's lost his edge. That's all. Made so much money in 6 months on LIV last year. I mean, talk about a guy who's never got to play again. Oh, my goodness. So, anyway, U.S. Open getting underway. Frankie Sappis, the former FGCU golfer who qualified with his mom on the bag. He is in the very last group today, off the back. He tees off at like 5:15 our time. And then I think he's got an early morning Pacific time tomorrow. I think he's like 11-ish our time, 8-ish his. But you're right, Mark. You said earlier in the week when you saw his tee time, you go, he's going to get some air time.
There's not a doubt in my mind, though, at least show he and mom. Who else has their mom caddy? Put it this way, David. You did the spotting work for Fox. You were one of the research people, one of the key research people when this event was on Fox.
Right.
You would have had that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, yes, there are brothers. It wasn't uncommon in a women's open to see a husband on the bag. And even if the wife was on the bag of a guy, which was not common, but it happened. But Mark, I don't remember in the 5 years that I was part of that there was ever a mom on the bag. Don't ever remember that. Either way, mom caddying for daughter, mom caddying for son. Don't ever recall that. But U.S. Open getting underway in a matter of minutes, and another day in Major League Baseball. That's pretty. College World Series gets underway tomorrow.
Very important question was asked on the text line, David. We spent some time talking about express lanes and items, and they simply ask, what about BOGO? It's 2 items. Still got to ring them both through.
Whew. Yeah, to me, it's
still got to ring them both through.
You do.
I just got done buying my BOGO Duke's mayonnaise, David. They rang them both through.
Right. They don't just ring the one and then take the other and move it around and put it in your cart.
Because they don't know what BOGO is. They're not up on every single buy one, get one item in the store. They're simply a cashier.
So it's basically if it beeps, right? You want to know how many items it is? How many beeps?
There you go.
A 6-pack, 1 beep. It's 1 item. If your bananas break off, it was 7 bananas, in a bunch, and then all of a sudden it's 2 2s and a 3, and that's how they're rung up. That's 3 items. Don't know what to tell you. So,
how much time did you spend on your baseball realignment?
Wow. Look at that. Outing me at the end of the show. A commercial break. I did. Now, I did it earlier in the show. We were talking about the A's, and if you missed it, the Nevada Assembly joined the Senate. They passed the financing. The A's are gone from Oakland. That's done. Governor's going to sign it today. Major League Baseball will approve it the first chance they get. The A's are done. Their lease is through 2024. The new stadium will be ready in Vegas in 2027. The only thing they got to figure out, do they do 2 more years in Oakland in a little deal, or do they do 2 years at the AAA ballpark in Vegas? Mark thinks they'd go Vegas. I mean, first off, will the city of Oakland even offer them an extension? I mean, I got to tell you, though, you got to knock that stadium down. I mean, you literally now don't have a tenant for the stadium.
Good.
It is a dump.
Should have been knocked down a long time ago.
20 years probably. But so anyway, we were talking about that, and then it puts the Rays on the clock, and then baseball is going to add 2 expansion teams. And so then I said, hey, when they go to 32, how do you think they're going to do this? Think they'll keep the leagues? Will they do like the NFL? You'll have an AL and NL, but you'll have a bunch of 4-team divisions. And me being a geek and a goober, during the commercial break, I said, let me come up with the divisions. Now you're going to out me. Okay.
I'm not outing you because I spent the whole commercial break looking at your divisions and I was making changes. So you're not, I mean, I'm just taking yours, and I can't do, to me, what I need is magnets for every team because I got to be shifting things around. It's going to get too messy if I start crossing out things and putting lines on them.
You want a draft board, do you? You want to look up at the board? You want to be moving things around?
I've got no problem. If I'm outing you, I'm outing myself, David. That's all I'm saying here. I have no problem with what your discussion is. I just think I might have the 2 LA teams, San Diego and Arizona, in the same division, and move San Francisco to the north with Portland, Seattle, and Vegas. I don't know.
I just don't know if I could break up what may be the best rivalry in the sport in Dodgers-Giants. Okay, that's all. I mean, they moved out west together. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I could break that up and make them non-division rivals anymore. But you're right. Geographically, it might actually work. 2 LA, San Diego, Arizona, and San Francisco goes north to be with theoretically Portland or Salt Lake, Seattle, and Vegas. Geographically, it probably works.
And it's not like this is the NFL where they're not going to play. Baseball, I think, is always going to play everybody. Even when they go to 32. They may not play as much. But baseball's made the move to try to have a more evenly matched schedule. And I don't see that changing.
Right. I would be against breaking up the Dodgers and Giants, though. I think their fan bases, too, would be against it. They're like, no, we want to play them. If we only played one team this year, we'd want it to be them. But I hear you. But my point, the reason I did it was when I first just started lining up teams, it felt to me like you can line up 31 of the 32 if Nashville's getting the first expansion team and the Rays are staying in either Tampa Bay or Orlando, but they're staying in the region. To me, you can line up 31 teams pretty easily. But if the 32nd team is west of the Mississippi, and if it's really the Rockies and west, there's 8 teams in the Mountain and Pacific time zone. And the word is they're going to add a 9th. Well, 9 divided by 4 is what? I mean, I'm just telling you that the Nashville expansion works with Miami, Atlanta, and Tampa Bay. But everybody else they're supposedly talking about doesn't really work geographically. Mark, it was like when the Bucks were in the NFC North for all those years, playing division games with the Vikings and the Bears and the Lions and the Packers. And those 4 teams would look at Tampa Bay like, what the hell are you guys doing here?
I got you. But the one thing, you talk about San Francisco and the Dodgers, and you're right. You also split up the Cubs and the Cardinals.
Yeah, you're right.
And if you're telling me how important one rivalry is to the sport, how could you neglect another? And I think that's where I could make this work at the end of the day. Slide Arizona, get San Diego or St. Louis in the same division with the Cubs, and we'd have something. The good, the bad, and the ugly today was a day when what's on tap. It's how we'll finish the day right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, yeah. Amo, absolutely. Action Park? Oh, yeah. Pops, what are you talking about? Back-to-back World Series champs on the list. You talking about the A's list? Adam, who cares?
So get this. There's a relatively newer apartment complex on Daniels, right before JetBlue Park, across the street from one of the first airport entrances. It's called Legacy Gateway.
Okay. All right.
And yesterday, there was a drunk man who stumbled into that pond in the middle of the apartment complex and was manhandled by a gator. And I don't know if he's alive.
Well, that's more than manhandled. I believe that would be eaten.
Yeah. And it's a developing story. Happened yesterday.
Well,
there's only one or two ways it can develop, and I just caught the end of it.
Well, I mean, I don't know how it happened.
Either he's alive or dead. It sounds like the story's, not much to develop here.
I just don't want to say anything that's not true. But there was a situation with a man and a gator in that pond.
And the man lost.
Dan Dockich's tweet. Hashtag SEC football schedule revealed. Hashtag we are Penn State. Prof has sex with dog. Hashtag Zion Williamson has sex with everyone. Hashtag Reds are fun. That's fantastic. I heard you say that.
You can bet on the Special.
You can bet on the Special Olympics?
You want the press release? I'll bring it to you.
Yeah. I'll find it, Joe.
Adam, registry home runs were as a Yankee.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
There it is.
Get it up, yep.
Oh, my goodness.
Track and field, weightlifting, soccer.
Well,
Yeah,
there it is.
That's the press release. Yep.
There it is.
We reached a new level.
That is how degenerate we have become as a society.
You can bet on the Special Olympics, David.
Well, isn't that special?
Wow.
10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We have no one lined up for the show currently tomorrow. We're trying to put a bow on the Heat and the Panthers seasons. The people who cover them, they're fried. They're spent. We'll see if we can do that tomorrow. College World Series. Look back at round 1 of the U.S. Open. It's a Friday. We'll have plenty of fun. Hope you'll join us.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start in 1219. The Dannebrog, the flag of Denmark. According to legend, it fell from the sky during a battle, and it helped turn the Danes' luck. It's the oldest flag in the world.
What year?
1219. 1775. The Continental Army appoints George Washington as its commander-in-chief. Seems like it was a good move.
Yeah. He then slept. I mean, he slept more places than Zion. Growing up in the Northeast, there were just signs everywhere. George Washington slept here. George Washington slept there. It's like, man, this guy got around. Martha must have been honked.
1836. Arkansas becomes the 25th state to the Union. Happy birthday, Arkansas.
Woo! Pig
Suey. Damn right. Today in 1878, the world's first moving pictures are caught on camera. 12 cameras, each taking one picture to see if all 4 of a horse's hooves leave the ground when it is galloping. They do. Today in 1898, the U.S. House passes a resolution to annex Hawaii. That's a good annex right there. 1916, the Boy Scouts form. 1924, J. Edgar Hoover assumes leadership of the FBI. Today in 1928, while playing for the Philadelphia Athletics, Ty Cobb steals home for a record 54th time.
Wow. Hell, I was impressed. The Yankees did it last night for the first time in 7 years.
Exactly. And when you said that, I knew this was on the sheet. And I was like, wow, how about that? How about that? Can't believe I'm taking that away from you.
I'm sorry.
You should be. 1965, Dylan records Like a Rolling Stone.
You know what? That's held up okay.
Most of his work has, believe it or not.
If you can understand it.
1967, The Dirty Dozen is released. 1969, Hee Haw premieres on CBS TV.
Man, I loved Hee Haw. I really did. let me tell you, the first TV station I ever worked at, Channel 22 in Scranton, Pennsylvania, nobody watched us. Mark, we couldn't pay people to watch our news. That's how deep in third place we were. But man, our Saturday night 6:30 p.m. newscast had really good ratings. And the powers that be couldn't figure it out. I remember being an intern going, well, we lead into hee-haw. And in the mid-'80s, hee-haw reruns in Scranton were the number one ratings draw on that station.
Marvin Gaye released Let's Get It On today in 1973. All the President's Men was published today in 74. Chrissy would win her first French as a teenager today in 74. Borg goes back-to-back at the French today in 75. Today in 77, the Mets trade Seaver.
Oh.
Who'd they get for him, David?
Doug Flynn, Dan Norman, Steve Henderson, Pat Zachary, and I think Joel Youngblood, but don't quote me on that.
1980 at Baltusrol, Nicholas sets a new tournament scoring record at 8 under to win his fourth Open. Today in 84, Tommy Hearns knocks out Roberto Duran in the second round. It was the first time Duran had ever been knocked out.
And many people thought that was it for Duran. You know, I mean, because he became champion in the 70s. He beat Sugar Ray in what, like 80, 81? But then Sugar Ray got revenge, the No Mas. He fights his way back to get the showdown with Hearns, and Hearns takes him out. And people thought that was it for Duran.
86 at Shinnecock, Raymond Floyd wins his fourth major. 92, Jeff Reardon breaks Raleigh Finger's save record with his 342nd save. 94, The Lion King is released. 97, Ernie Els wins at Congressional for his second of 4 majors. 2001, the Lakers beat the Sixers in 5 to go back-to-back. 2003, the Spurs beat the Nets. And Jim Furyk would win his only major, winning the Open.
Yeah, they played it on a course they never should have played the Open at. He was like 15 under, something ridiculous.
04, the Pistons beat the Lakers in 5. 2011, the Bruins end their cup drought of 39 years, beating the Canucks.
In 7.
Yes. 2014, the Spurs beat the Heat in 5.
LeBron's last game with the Heat.
That series went down just like this series.
That same day, Martin Keimer wins the U.S. Open. 2015, the Blackhawks defeat the Lightning in 6.
That was the end of their dynasty. That was their 3rd and 6th seasons, and I don't know how many playoff series they've won since.
Mobster Sam Giancana and Waylon Jennings, both born today. Mike Holmgren, 75. Dusty Baker, 74. Jim Belushi, 69. Wade Boggs is 65. Actress Helen Hunt is 60. Courtney Cox is 59. Ice Cube is 54. Justin Leonard is 51. Neil Patrick Harris is 50. Mohamed Salah is 31. And Cooper Kupp's 30. What did I miss, David?
Well, the only one I'm going to, a little this, little that. But it was today in 1846 that the U.S.-Canadian border basically got finalized because Great Britain and the U.S. signed the Oregon Treaty. It settled the long-standing dispute over who controlled the Oregon Territory. And so it established the 49th parallel, the Rocky Mountains, and the boundary between the U.S. and British Canada, and basically it's set up. We could then, have Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, and the British retained control of Vancouver Island and the rights, parts of the Columbia River and all that. So basically we finished our border, our northern border today, Mark, in 1846.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
David, do you think you could give me 8 weeks?
Of
an 8-week program, a relatively simple 8-week program can help men reduce their biological age by 3.2 years. 6 small changes to diet and lifestyle.
Okay.
7 hours of sleep.
Okay.
You got to take some supplements. That seems pretty easy. You got to do a 10-minute meditation or a breathing practice twice a day.
Twice a day?
Twice a day.
That's a pain.
You got to eat in a 12-hour window. You got to take a probiotic, and you got to have 30 minutes of exercise per day, 5 days a week. Those
you mean hold on
simple changes.
I do that for 8 weeks. I'm going to add 3 years to my life.
You take whatever. Yes,
for just 8 weeks, though. Then I can stop.
Well, I think you got to keep it up.
Well, no. You said you wanted me to give you 8 weeks.
It says 8 weeks will reduce your biological age by 3.2 years.
Okay, so then I give you 8 weeks. I add 3.2 years to my life, and then I can go right back to what I was doing.
I want to see if you can give me 8 weeks.
If you can guarantee me
like the ideas.
Well, some of them are ridiculous. I mean, what? I have to meditate twice a day?
Twice a day.
What the hell? Why?
For the bad, we go to Louisiana.
Mark, I don't know if you're realizing I was the kid that didn't just necessarily do it because you told me to. If it didn't make sense to me, I'd go, why? If I already gave you 10 minutes of meditation in the morning, why do I have to do it in the afternoon? I already meditated about what I was going to do today. Now I did
it. I had to meditate during this segment. We go to Hanville, Louisiana for the bad, where a 28-year-old woman who enrolled in a Louisiana high school and posed as a 17-year-old student has been arrested along with her mother. They used a fake passport and birth certificate from Honduras to register the 28-year-old to Hanville High School. She wanted to learn English. Wasn't anything nefarious. It was just simply that she wanted to learn English. And finally, the ugly. We go to Seminole County in Florida, where onlookers may have been surprised to see a police officer pulling over, wait for it, a fellow police officer. The officer was doing 80 in a 45 in a marked police car. Body cam footage could see the other officer get out of the car saying, "I'm going to work." Doesn't matter. He was charged with a number of offenses, including reckless driving. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, June the 15th, 2023.
Could you do those 8 weeks, by the way?
I think so.
I could do them. I could. Now, 8 weeks in a day, I'd stop. I mean, yeah, no reason to keep doing this. Supposedly, I'm adding 3 years to my life. Quite frankly, with the way it's going right now, I don't know. I don't think you can get me to sign up right now, to be honest with you. I think things would have to improve for me to sign on for 3 more years at the end.
Move to Jacksonville's going really well, huh?
Might just take this early retirement, if you know what I mean. Hey, the Rays have a mighty nooner out in Oakland. 3:37 our time. You can interrupt your U.S. Open coverage
today.
Interrupt your U.S. Open coverage on Peacock. Rays are minus 210 for Taj Bradley against Paul Blackburn. I don't think the Rays are going to lose 3 out of 4 to the A's. Marlins are off today. 3 afternoon games and 7 night games tonight. There's actually one nationally televised. Angels, Rangers. Hey, you get to see Ohtani and Trout. How about that? 8 o'clock FS1. Angels trying to take 3 out of 4 from Texas. It's actually a key little game in the AL West standings. Same deal in Pittsburgh with, or Chicago, actually, Cubs and Pirates. They're wrapping up a 4-game series. Cubs have taken 2 out of 3. And I know the Cubs are like 7 games below 500, but let's be honest. How many games do we think it's going to need to take the Central? Like 83? Cubs win tonight. They're 3.5 back.
Hey, the Cardinals aren't out of it yet, as badly as that division's being played.
They have the worst record in the league.
I know. You know, you talked about Peacock, and I'm guessing that's where everything will be this morning from a streaming standpoint, but USA is where we go at 1 o'clock for the U.S. Open. I had to look up the coverage. I've got USA from 1 to 8, NBC from 8 to 11.
By the way, what's wrong with putting golf on, wait for it, the Golf Channel? No? It's a bad idea? I mean, they put NBA on NBA TV, put Major League Baseball on MLB TV. No? Golf on the Golf Channel? It's a crazy idea. So Peacock in the morning, USA in the afternoon to early evening, NBC 8 to 11.
And they'll be streaming all day long on Peacock until at least 8 o'clock. And then 1 to 11 on Saturday, 1 to 10 on Sunday on NBC. If you missed any part of the show today, go to floridasportsnetwork.com to download it. And we'll do this all over again tomorrow.
By the way, if you had to split, you're going Homa, I'm going Hovland.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?